Coming to you live from the JRE Tobacco Aladino Mobile Studios, it's the Cigar Pulpit.
This is Kurt Diebel with Diebel Sportsman Gallery, and you're listening to the Cigar Pulpit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm the Bishop of the Burn, Nick, and with me, not Jeff, but, you know, I'd say arguably better, we have special guest Christopher Manso. How are you?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
Also known as Snappy Big Man.
Snappy Big Man, yes, I am.
So, Christopher has a very storied career within the cigar industry, and we're going to get to that. I hear things.
Yeah, there's things. We won't necessarily mention names all the way.
I would say, protect the innocent and all that fun stuff.
Definitely the innocent. Yeah. Has nothing to do with the bitterness. But
oh, okay. But no, so today we're just kind of hanging out at the JRE Tobacco Aladino Mobile Studios on the patio here at Top Shooters in Columbia, Illinois. And we're going to be smoking a 2021 JC Newman Yagua. Now, you haven't had one of these
no,
yet,
I have not. No, I have heard about it. Have not got around to getting one yet. And you gifted me one. Thank you very much.
No problem. So these cigars are 6x54, and the way they're wrapped, they take a bundle of them and they wrap them and tie them off in that royal palm leaf.
Yeah.
And it gives them very unique shapes.
I was going to say it's almost like a soft box press.
Exactly. But like sometimes you'll get them in their triangular, depending upon where in the bundle
where they were placed.
Precisely. I mean, you can get some that they're like a weird, rhombus shape, like
it almost reminds me
of
the shape reminds me of the old Henry Clay.
Okay.
Way back in the day, they had those, and they were in that box, and they have the, that almost that triangle, that soft triangle press on some of them. Yeah, that was the same way they did them.
But these are fantastic cigars. Jeff and I really enjoy them. I bought more than a few last year, and still had a handful of them sitting around. And but thankfully, they brought them back this year, and I was able to score myself a box, and so now we're firing them up.
Sounds good. It looks good. It's a good construction. It's a bad hat. Well, it's not a bad hat. But anytime anybody hands me a cigar, I automatically grab it and start running the body down.
Yeah.
Just to see how it is.
Well, you know what you're doing.
Well, I pretended for years I know.
Well, it's time for the cut, and the cut is brought to you by Riverman Cigar Company of Crestwood, Missouri. Our man Dan over there at Riverman Cigar Company is gearing up for the second annual Riverman Cigar Company Festival. He's going to have a group of guys from Martinez Cigars coming out. They're going to have some rollers on site doing some hand-rolled cigars. And, it's going to be a good time. It's Saturday, September 25th. Weather's shaping up to be gorgeous outside. Bring your lawn chairs. That way you can sit outside and enjoy the weather and have some place to actually sit. But, guys, he's stocking up the humidor. He's got some of the Yagua, but he's also got a bunch of other cigars coming in. Dan over there, he's working hard to make this one hell of an event for this upcoming September 25th, so you're not going to want to miss it. And I'd like to point out that if you can't make the event on Saturday, September 25th, Dan does mail order. So all you got to do is just call up Dan over there at Riverman Cigar Company, place your order for some cigars, and he can get those shipped out to you right away. So that's Dan the Man Ponder over at Riverman Cigar Company. And with that, it's time we go ahead and cut the cigar. So, okay. So you have cut. Now, you did a straight cut there?
I did a straight cut. I got the old, this baby's old.
Oh, yeah?
The old Davidoff.
Oh. What's the ring gauge on that cutter?
That's I don't know.
Anymore, it seems like when you find those little...
Oh, like these? This is probably goes up to just a 50.
I was going to say, anymore, you see them in there like 60 or 70, but like that's definitely...
Yeah, the big mouth cutters. I'm not a fan of the big ring gauge cigars, though.
I don't go any bigger than 60.
Tried,
and even those are
60.
A little much.
Yeah, I will do a 60. Most of the time, I smoke 60s when I was in the business and help make cigars for different folks.
Yeah,
and so I was the production guy too, so I had to check that stuff. So I was the one who had to smoke those. They smoked great, but not a comfortable time to smoke.
Yeah,
I would get through. Never would finish the cigar. I would get through enough. Check the quality, check the burn and everything else, but just it's not comfortable.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I mean, there's a guy that goes over to Riverman, Chris, and I don't know if you've seen him over there, but he loves the big ring gauge cigars, and he's waiting with bated breath for the what is it, the 9x90 asylums that are coming in and everything, and it's just like, what the heck, man?
That's a confident young man. That's awesome.
He's very sure of himself.
I'm not going to get a 9x90. It's not going to be the biggest thing I've had in my hand that day. I'll put it that way.
Well, anyway, so cold draw on the Yagua. What are we getting on that?
It's nice. A little toffee.
If it's anything like last year, and I'm getting similar notes, kind of get like a little bit of a barnyardy kind of hay thing going on.
Yeah, definitely that. Yeah, that wet hay almost.
Yeah. And a little sweetness. And the barnyardy kind of hay thing going on.
It's going to be a good smoke. I'm looking forward to this.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and fire mine up. So, man, where do we even start with your career? I mean, you're in cigars, you're in coffee, liquor. I mean, where do we go?
Oh, I tell you what. Wherever you want to go.
All right. Well, why don't we start at the beginning? So, the inevitable question everybody always asks, how did you get into cigars?
I was into cigars very early on, 1920. Not 1920, the year, I'm not that old, 19, 20 years old. Always enjoyed cigars. Worked with some folks who smoked pipes. Pipes were big back then. I'm still a pipe smoker today, too, but very occasionally.
It's just pipes, there's just so much extra work for me.
It is. You know what? There is not... That is two different animals. Mm-hmm. You're right, because a pipe is, you've got to tamp it down, take care of the tobacco, keep smoking. Where you get a good light on a cigar, sit back and relax. But I do enjoy it, like on the porch in the fall, winter time when it's cooler and everything.
Yeah.
And there's some guys who smoked cigars, and like I say, I always enjoyed it. Got into hand rolls pretty much right away. And went on with that, and then I guess it was 93. I had a partner that we were actually looking at opening. We had almost got a building. We were getting ready to sign, and then they moved a company across the street from where we were going to be. We were going to open a coffee shop on the first floor. On the second floor, we were going to have a cigar shop.
Yeah.
And then they opened, they signed, they were touting us.
A little windy here in the pagoda.
Uh-huh.
It's the only thing, but we'll handle it.
Oh, yeah. If I keep talking, there'll be a lot of hot air blowing around, too. But, no, they brought in I think it was a Panera.
Okay.
It was St. Louis Bread Company. Okay. Right across the street.
Which, for those of us who are out of the St. Louis area, it's Panera.
Yeah, it is Panera now. Yeah. But they brought them in, so they were touting us, which was fine. It's just the way business is done.
Yeah.
And we were getting ready to sign and found out, like, in the paper the next day. So we weren't going to buy the building or whatever.
Yeah.
So I lost my partner. I found another building in Belleville, Illinois. And we opened up just a straight cigar shop. But we served coffee and everything, but it was just complimentary. Mm-hmm. We didn't do that. And so I played with that. We had that shop. We bought another building adjacent. So we moved from a store that started out roughly maybe 900 square feet to one that was 3,000 square feet.
Oh, wow.
Put in a full lounge, opened a cigar bar and everything else. We had that till... God, right before... Well, we lost it right before... I think it was 2008 is when Illinois went non-smoking and alcohol attached.
Okay.
So we had to make the decision, do we want to have just the cigar store, and it wouldn't support itself in that size building with the population, or do we want to have a bar? And we didn't want to have and it wasn't a bar.
Yeah.
We had 12 taps. And no offense to the Budweiser people, but we never had one of their products on tap because we ran a CO2 Nitro.
Okay.
We had 3 standards, Bass, Harp, Guinness, and then we rotated the other taps. And we were probably ahead of our time by a few years. We were one of the first to start bringing in microbrews, different imports, things like that. There was a few other guys in St. Louis doing it at the time. And so we made, and again, we didn't want to have just a bar. We featured, I probably had 60, 70 different bourbons and scotches.
Yeah.
high end. We did it. It was more what we called the place was the Conversation Lounge.
Okay.
So we didn't have a television in there. We would play jazz. We would have a one-man band or a little trio come in on the weekends. It was a great time. And it was great for people to get together. And that's what we wanted was conversation going on all the time. We even actually, above the bar area, we took, because we stripped the building out, we kept the old wire from the phone lines and everything. It was an office before. We ran those up in there because that was back in this before you got great reception with cell phones.
Yeah.
Because we had a policy was there's a chair way in the back corner, or take it outside.
Okay.
Of course, you didn't have the phones like you do today, though, either.
So now, stepping back a minute, you said you were kind of deciding what you wanted to do when the smoking ban was coming into place in 2008. Would you guys have been grandfathered underneath that? Because I know some of them at least have been.
They've changed that now. We would not have been grandfathered.
Okay.
It was make your decision then. Back then, I think they've changed some things, especially down further in Southern Illinois.
Yeah.
Because they're not prosecuting or whatever.
No.
Glad those guys are there. I mean, I wish I was to a point still there, but, it was just, it was a cut and dry.
Yeah.
It was, can't do it anymore.
There's some places around here that when you actually look at the letter of the law, I question how they're getting away with, anything. But I'm not going to rat them out. But
no, me either.
But you get my point.
Well, that's just it. And that was the whole thing of it. It was, and this is a discussion I'm sure you've had plenty of times, and I've had, is that you're an adult. You're 18 to smoke at the time.
Yeah, now 21.
I'm really not.
Which I still think is goofy.
I think is goofy, but I think it's good. And I get grief for that sometimes.
Okay. Explain that, because my contention is that there's this weird sliding scale of legality, age of legality, that you have 16 to drive, you have 18 to vote, and then you jump to 21 for now smoking and drinking. And so it's like, wherein lies actual age of legality when you break that down?
I think it's just the age of just knowing what the hell you're doing. Personally, I don't think you could put an age on.
If that's the case, then it shouldn't be even 21.
There should be guys never drinking at any age or smoking. But when they were doing that, and I saw it coming, when they were doing because it started off citywide, statewide, it went across the country, and it was going to become federal. I was still in the cigar business at the time when we talked about it, and so taking it to the premium cigar side. I agree with you. 18, you could vote. But the thing was, they were so down on the cigar industry. The FDA was coming in.
Yeah.
Everything else said we were marketing to kids, which we never were.
No.
They brought up acid cigars, other flavored cigars like Miami and stuff.
Yeah.
We never marketed to kids. And if you look at the liquor industry, they had two things. I mean, look at the products that are out now. You're going to have a whole lot of diabetics when they're 40. I mean, they're drinking peanut butter whiskey. They're drinking candy seltzers. So you got
Peach Crown. I just saw that at the
Peach
store
Crown,
yesterday.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you got, what is it, Not Your Dad's Root Beer?
Yep.
You got Mike's Hard Lemonade, all that other stuff.
The spiked sodas and things like that.
But they always had the drink responsibly tag on there. We tried to come up with something with that. That was a little too late. We were never marketing to anybody else. But from the standpoint to relieve pressure, and this is where I thought it was good, it relieved pressure on tobacco shops. Because really, if you knocked out that 18 to 20, you were losing 1/2% of your smokers would come in. So they weren't giving them grief. You got somebody who, my son did it. Now, he had access to cigars all the time. But when he turned 18, he went out, he registered for the draft. He went and bought a cigar and whatever else. Bought a lottery ticket.
Yeah.
Came home, I'm like, I got a room full of cigars. He goes, it was
the concept of being able to do it.
That one step up into adulthood.
Yeah.
So, it took a lot of pressure that people, because it's the premium cigar is an easy, cigar smokers in general, even if you use machine-made cigars, they're just an easy target. There's not that many people. People don't realize how few of consumed tobacco, chew, snuff, machine-made cigarettes, it's right around, it's a little less than 1% smoke premium cigars.
So, I get what you're saying. Well, all right. I can acquiesce with that. I'll give you that. You know what? I mean,
I don't think it's right. I think it's still goofy.
I have problems with it just fundamentally, but at least...
Oh, I do too.
But at least I can understand where you're coming from, that, look, if you're going to give up some ground, at least that was ground that really was useless to begin. Not useless, but you know what I mean? It wasn't much that you're giving up.
No,
there.
You weren't losing... Financially, you weren't losing a lot. Because there was some... And there was some guys who did some stuff. I happen to have an account down in Little Rock. Open Door Cigars. They do a mentoring program down there, and they still do it now, but they have the college. He was in Fayetteville. So they would have these young men come in who didn't know how to interact. They grew up in a different generation, with the phones out and everything else. And so he had Brian Waters is the owner of Open Door Cigars. He has a mentoring program. It started off pretty much as a Cigar 101. Just talk guys, but then there was other businessmen that would mentor these guys to talk to them about how to make eye contact, conversation, what to do, things like this, and it went real well. And then, he lost that too, so now he doesn't get them at 18. He can't touch them until they're 21. Yeah. So there is some backside, but not a lot of it. And like I say, you got a lot of people just leaving cigar shops alone, but you still see it today.
Yeah.
You walk in, it's funny when, like, I go to Stanley's, he's got the sign up. I guess still. I haven't been there in a while. I was just there the other day, but didn't, like everybody else, I didn't go anywhere for a year.
Yeah.
And he's got the sign up warning smoking in here. I'm like, maybe you shouldn't walk in anyway if you're that stupid. If you can't see the sign that says cigar shop on it, and what do you expect? And you see that. You've been there.
Yeah.
You pull out a cigar, you don't even light it up. And people are like, oh my God, you can have me. And how many times have they come over later and said, wow, that smells really good?
Oh, yeah, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
But to your point, it's like we were talking about literally before we sat down to record here.
Mm-hmm.
We're out here under the pagoda portion of the patio here at Top Shooters, which is kind of away from the building and everything. And part of it was the electricity. There's an outlet out here that I can use for the board. And I was telling you that there's a table underneath the patio portion that has electricity. But what I tell you, there's tables in there, people that are sitting there eating and everything, and I didn't want to light up my cigar while everybody's sitting there eating their lunch and having an afternoon. So I figured we'd segregate over here, but it's the same concept.
It is. Well, I think cigar smokers in general. I mean, there's always one. There's always one guy. We know that guy. But they're always like if I was at a place and when I was on the road. I used to travel. One thing, I would always obviously hang in cigar shops, but once in a while you just want to get away from everybody. Mm-hmm. So you could go have a nice meal. You could go to a place like Shooters. You could go to a steakhouse, whatever, go to the bar later, light up a cigar. Can't do that anymore.
No.
But if I was sitting there and I hadn't lit up yet, I would ask folks.
Yeah, do you mind?
Look, I'm going to light up. Do you mind? They said, yeah. I would either move to a different spot or I wouldn't light up. It wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
So... Again, it's an adult choice. You know what you're getting into. There is a little too much regulation at times.
I don't disagree with you there. So getting back to your story then. So you've got your shop in Belleville. The regulations are coming down on smoking indoors and everything. You're making your decision. Where do you end up from there?
I end up going to work for a cigar company. Big company now. When I started with them, I had actually done stuff with them over 10 years as they were growing. Mm-hmm. Part-time. I would help them out. I would always go to the show and work the booth and things like that. And they offered me a position to open up the Midwest. A lot of the companies were growing to that point. They're 25 years in now. So they were growing. And at the time when I went to Chicago, Rocky hired somebody, Drew Estates. So all these reps were coming into those, lack of a better word, but it's what they use down in Miami, is the barren states. There wasn't as much.
Okay.
They were big in Texas. They were big on the East Coast. You had California and everything, but that Midwest was an untapped market. And so I went up there to work for them. This is nice.
Yeah, let's talk about the Yagua for a minute. So what are you getting on any flavor notes or anything like that? I mean, it's smoking wonderfully.
It's very subtle on the flavors so far. I don't think it's had time to open up yet.
Yeah.
We've only been into it for maybe, 5-10 minutes? But
at least.
It's got time to, there's some underlying notes, definitely like cocoa on it. That hay is still there.
Yeah, hay is definitely still there.
The sweetness has kind of gone away.
Yes.
The sweetness is definitely not coming through on the smoke.
It's a cold draw sweetness. Mm-hmm. It's not a smoking sweetness.
No, not at all. It's nice. It's an easy draw. It's a good cigar.
Well, good. I'm glad you're enjoying it. So, so now you're working for this company.
Yeah,
Which
the
company?
nameless company.
I was going to say the nameless company. I noticed you didn't drop the name.
Yeah, I didn't drop the name. It's
okay.
just a thing I do.
We won't press.
Yeah, we won't press. People who know me will know. People who don't know me won't care.
Okay.
It's all right. But I went and worked for them. I was running Chicago, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and then I took over the Heartlands, the flyover zone.
Okay.
Dude,
so what is it? So the way you're describing it is this is kind of a new virgin territory for a lot of these companies.
Mm-hmm.
So what is it like being a rep for a company and coming into and almost building up a territory, and a large territory at that? I mean, that's the thing. When you name off these Midwest states, you can name off a few and people are like, oh, it's a handful of states. It's a lot of geography.
It's a lot of windshield time, let me tell you. Because I left Chicago, then I took over, like I said, the Heartland. So I had, and I can tell you the states, I eventually picked up Colorado.
Okay.
I had Kansas, Southern Illinois, part of Kentucky, but I had Kansas, Iowa, Nebraska, Arkansas, and Colorado.
I mean, people don't realize just even how big Illinois is.
No, they don't.
I mean,
Not
Chicago, from where we're at right now, Chicago's a solid 5 hours, away.
Oh, definitely
by car. And I mean, Kansas City's 4 hours, Indianapolis is 4 hours. I mean, there's cities that are close, but they're not close.
They're not close.
They're not 2 hour drives.
When I tell guys, they're like, my God, you got like 6, 7 states almost? I'm like, really? I got 14 towns.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I drove from St. Louis to Kansas City to Des Moines to Omaha to Lincoln down to Topeka, Oklahoma City and Tulsa, Fayetteville, and all the way over to Little Rock, and then swung around up through, that part of and all I did was Paducah. It was really only a couple shops in that.
Was the cigar barn down there at that point?
Which one?
The cigar barn? I don't know.
Tobacco barn?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Brett.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
I would say Gator loves that place. He's down there.
He's really done well with that. He had it. He's an ex-cop.
Okay.
I don't know when he took it over. Big discount cigarette. He put in a nice humidor. Added a second humidor. He owns that property, so he has built onto that building backwards and put in a great lounge. Okay. And I mean, I was actually down there for a charity event, the big duck race they had.
Okay.
Me and the wife were like, let's go to the duck race. We're not doing anything. We drive down there. We finally get it. We stop for lunch somewhere. Horrible lunch. I don't remember the town we were in, but, it wasn't a great lunch.
Yeah.
So we're like, let's get going. We get there, and it was like, where's everybody at for this humongous duck race? We bought, I don't know, it was a charity thing.
You bought the little rubber ducks, right?
I bought 10 of them for $250 or something.
Okay.
I don't care. We get down there, and it's like horrible. It's already over by the time we get there.
Oh,
they basically take this big lift bucket, put these ducks in, drop them in the pond at this park, hit them with a fire hose. It takes about a minute to do this. So we get there after everything's over. But we went and spent the night and had a good time, and the weather was rainy and cold anyway. It was supposed to be a nice day, no big deal. So I went over to see Brett again and saw the what he's done with the lounge and stuff. So, he runs a good shop.
Good.
He's a lot. I met a lot of great people on some I still love, some I not so much. No love lost.
But you don't have to see him now.
I don't have to see him.
So going back, building up the territory. I mean, so like building relationships and everything. What is that like?
It's tough. It's tough and it's not. I mean, as you build the relationships, they'll buy from you. It doesn't matter what product you walk in with. And that's what I did was build those relationships because we were still a young company. People didn't know us, so to speak. They knew our brands more than they knew the brand name, and that was the owner's choice at the time. And then they finally put that brand name out there. So people would ask, and we'll just mention the name anyway because I don't want to keep it a big mystery all this time. It was Alec Bradley.
Okay.
But it was by Alec Bradley, so it was the Max. By Alec Bradley would be on this side.
Magic Toast by Alec. I get what you're saying. Okay.
And so they didn't know that. And I would go into shops, and we had brokers at the time. We used brokers like everybody else as we grew. So sometimes that was good, that was bad, depending on what the broker did before. You had to repair relationships, start new relationships. It all depended on when you were in the book. when you had a broker who might have 10 different companies at the time and who was given the better commission, who was doing what, who was riding with. So it was a matter of just going in there and just, you always go, and I've always been that way. I never, to me, a sale is a sale. It's a one and done. A relationship lasts a lifetime. And that's what you try to do. And then as we developed better marketing, better product, it got easier and easier. But it was still that support. I don't know if there's that much call for, I think there will always be call for reps to a point, but it's changed so much anymore with all the non-smoking laws.
And that's an interesting point, and we'll circle back to this.
Sure.
I want to know what your thoughts are as it relates to the role of the rep in, I'll call it a post-COVID world. But, let's be real. Last year, you saw a lot of reps just disappear from the road.
Totally.
And smoking increased, And so it's an interesting situation. So
it is. It definitely is. I saw a change coming. I left Alec Bradley, went to work for another company for a couple of years, and I just got burnt out. It's a young man's game. And when you're traveling, it was a lot of travel.
Yeah.
And it happened more than once. But I remember being in Arkansas, and the analogy I usually tell people is when I first started, I felt like the rock star.
Okay.
You walked in, you met people. They looked forward to you coming back. They knew you were coming into town. You got to go out to have dinner with them. I went on the road. I would get invited. Hey, what are you doing? Thursday, we're having people over, coming over to the house. So it was great. I made a lot of nice relationships. But I woke up in Arkansas, and I was on a 5-day trip. And so I started at Little Rock, worked my way across the state. So I was pretty much go see my accounts, sleep the night, drive the next day.
Yeah.
It was a 4-hour drive getting across, see a couple more accounts. Woke up, knew I was in a hotel, didn't remember where I was. Took me a minute when I woke up. So I called the wife and said, I'm done.
Yeah.
And she's like, you should have quit 2 years ago. So I did see a big change. I talked to some guys still, and it was tough for them. They're used to, being on the road and all that. But I just saw a change coming, and most of it was caused by, in my opinion, the non-smoking laws.
Okay.
You had the trade show, which they didn't have last year. They had the trade show this year.
Yeah.
I heard it was not very well attended.
That's
the big
what I've
guys
been told.
pulled out.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where you would go to that show and guys would buy. And they would buy. It used to be, in the beginning, your biggest month in the cigar industry was Christmas.
Okay.
You gifted cigars to your lawyer, to the doctor. People could smoke everywhere. You had people getting together and go out. As that went down and down, so did that December month. December is probably your 6th best month in the cigar business. You got to do it you got to make hay when the sun shines.
Yeah.
So you're smoking during the
summer months.
Spring and summer months.
Early August.
Yep.
Or autumn. Yeah.
Autumn. And so and I saw lounges change in their style. They became almost more sports bars to a point, which I never was a big fan of. But you'll have 6, 7 TVs in there. Yep. And I get it, but it's just like, I used to love to go into those places just so you could have a conversation or whatever.
Yeah.
One of the shops I still like the best here in St. Louis, and I love them all equally. Never know, I may have to do business with them again. But the Hill Cigar Company's got that one television.
That one TV.
And those guys are great because if I'm having a conversation, I had one guy come in and he wanted to watch the golf game. And you don't really need play-by-play on golf.
No.
And he's like, hey, I'll keep it muted. I just want to watch the game. I'm like, cool. So you can have conversations going on, and you can get in other conversations.
Well, and the one thing I like about the Hill as well is kind of and I talk about this a lot with the furniture, the feng shui of the furniture, the way it's laid out. And, you brought up Stanley's earlier, and I think that's kind of an equal or a good comparison between the two. Stanley's, you have little pods of seating where you come in with your friends and you're sitting there together and everything like that. But, like, the people across the room, A, it's a bigger room, but B, they're sitting in like their little seating area with their friends, so you don't get that cross-contamination of conversation sometimes to where you're maybe meeting other people.
Right, but it's also the way they're set up that you can bring other people in. You can move a chair around, you can invite a guy in. That's one thing I always saw. When I had guys when I was on the road, and I would have guys follow me around, I use social media and stuff, and it was for business. Mm-hmm. And guys would say, hey, I'm going to Kansas City. Where should I go? I would give them all the stores. I would tell them certain stores you want to go see.
Yeah.
And then the little dumps, the little not dumps, but bodegas is what we call them. Little shops with, it had the duct tape on one of the leather chairs and things like that. But they would walk in, and the owner would take them, and it's like, oh, you're Nick? Hey, Nick's from St. Louis. This is this, boom. And you could sit in the shop like that for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours. Before you knew it, time got away from you.
Well, you meet the same people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I love
maybe not the same, but the same.
The same. You're right. I remember, you would walk in, with reality shows. And every time you walked in, somebody would be like, oh, we should have a reality show here. I'm like, why? And they're like, well, we got all these characters. I'm like, you all got the same people in here. You got the guy who doesn't smoke anything less than a $15 cigar. You got the guy who doesn't smoke anything but quorum, son of a bitch. I'm not going to pay $2.50 more for that thing.
You had at least two people like that.
Oh, yeah. You had plenty of mooches.
Yeah.
You had the Mino guy.
Okay.
Mino more than you.
Okay.
You always had the guy who had a cousin. He always, no matter what you talked about, I had a chance to become an astronaut. I got a cousin who was an astronaut. I mean, just no matter what you did. But people didn't care who you were or what you did for a living. They cared who you were. But I saw a lot of great relationships. I saw guys that I met, they didn't know each other.
Yeah.
I had an interesting conversation at Fidel's in Kansas City one time with one of the young men working there. And he was talking about third place. Have you heard this?
No.
Third place is, and I'm going to probably screw this up. I've got the book. I still haven't read it. But it talks about where a third spot is become community for areas. So a coffee shop, a barber shop, cigar shops are included in that.
Okay.
Where you'll take, maybe, you and I live in the same town. Don't know each other or paths don't cross. Churches are one. So you meet people there.
Yeah.
And it becomes that, and it grows into a relationship from there.
Okay.
And you had that with cigar shops. I saw guys that would go into a cigar shop, didn't know the other guy. What are you smoking? And they don't ask you what you do for a living, usually. It's like, what if you like this, what do you like to do? You ever drink bourbon? You ever drink scotch? You do this. Oh, yeah, I do that. What else you do for fun? If you like cigars. Oh, I'm a fly fisherman. And over the years, I'd see those guys, and it's like, hey, where's Bob and the crew?
Yeah.
Oh, they're all on a golf trip down in Mississippi. They never played before, but it was that cigar. The cigar is, in my opinion, a cigar is for men, and we'll say women, really men. I don't care who I piss off sometimes. But it's the most common denominator in the world. And in my years in the cigar business, I met, and I used to say the local ditch digger. And I'm a little older, and guys are like, what's that? But you take the guy who makes minimum wage. He works at the gas station, grocery store. He's making, I don't even know what minimum wage is, $8 an hour.
Shit, these days it's freaking
$15 an hour?
Yeah.
But you took that guy who made that minimum wage. You took the guy. Here's the thing. I smoked and had great conversations with guys who made $8 an hour. And I sat at tables and at chairs with guys who made $8,000 an hour.
Yeah.
I didn't know who they were. I didn't care what they did for a living. And we just had conversations, and I would find out later.
Jeff and I have found that at the Hill is that we'll be sitting there, and we find out later. It's not necessarily something, like you're saying, it doesn't come up in conversation all the time. But you find out later that you're sitting there with maybe one of the judges for the city of St. Louis or something like that. But then at the same time, you're sitting there with, like our buddy Strong. He's public works for the city of St. Louis, and cops and, guys that do flooring and this and that and whatever
you can
else.
find
and, it's everybody.
You don't need Angie's List.
Oh, I agree. I've been saying this, that if you want to be like, oh, I got a guy, you just maintain those relationships from the cigar lounge, and you've got a guy.
I would be on the road. Guess what? There was a mechanic. If I had a problem, there was a recommendation, and it was one of the guys from the cigar shop. Needed a lawyer? Don't ask when that happened. It was in Kansas City, though. But no, if you need a lawyer, you need a plumber, you need somebody else for. Everybody networked. It was a great, and it still happens today. They still network. Yeah, there's just a great mix of people, and they tend to be. One of my customers, his daughter wrote, and I've got the paper at home. And this is when I had my shop, and she did, I guess, her thesis, but it was about sociology, but it was about cigar stores.
Really?
Yeah. And she said, and this is the one part, and I'm going to paraphrase. They tend to be conservative, tend to be a little older, 30 plus. Family is important, all those things, those right things in life.
Yeah.
One thing was they were, how did they put it? But basically they were conservative yet open-minded. And you're like, well, okay, explain that to me. And he was, because he had her explain it to him because he didn't get it either.
Yeah.
He was asking her the same question. What it is over a cigar, you'll have a conversation. So you may not agree. And if you know, you've been in cigar shops, there's a few, we don't talk religion, we don't talk politics, so to speak.
Yeah.
But, somebody has an opinion about something, and it could be politics or whatever else. It's like, I may not agree with you, but I got an hour and a half.
We can talk it out.
Let's talk it out.
Yeah.
Still get along with it.
I always joke that we're sitting around having cigars and solving the world's problems,
That's what we did.
Exactly it.
I did that for years. I walked around with a drink in one hand, cigar in the other, solved the world's problems, went to bed, got up the next day, and got to do it all over again. It was a great time. It really was.
So let's talk about the coffee.
Yeah.
So you've got Snappy Big Man coffee, and you were nice enough to bring me a bag, and I really appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. I ground it down. Now, I figured you had a grinder, but half the people I know don't have grinders.
I don't.
Okay, you son of a... Let me tell you
I'm going to be totally honest with you. I am a coffee novice. Okay. Like, for the longest time, I turned 40 in November, and up until this year, I could probably count on one hand how many cups of coffee I had. And one of our show sponsors,
Shut up.
Swear to God, my dad, he questioned every day how I was his son because he goes through multiple pots of coffee a day. And so one of our show sponsors, Nick Gervais, he runs My Monthly Cigars.
Yes.
He came out with the fucking good coffee.
Yes.
And so he sent us some samples, and I tried that.
Yeah, I love his package.
And I really enjoyed that. So we can blame Nick Gervais for me. But no, so I'm looking forward to trying yours.
Yeah, it's ours isn't fucking good coffee. It's just great coffee.
Okay.
Just say that's our tagline. But I grew up on coffee.
Okay.
My mom's mom, my abuela, she's Spanish. We were poor. It's one of those, we were poor and we didn't know it. We knew it. It was fine. So she didn't have extra things around the house when we got to visit her. I mean, She had a little of this, a little of that. So there was always coffee. She had sugar to cook with and everything else. We didn't make Kool-Aid. There was no pop, no soda or anything like that. So we drank coffee. And I would drink coffee with real cream in it in the beginning. And I liked black coffee. And I was always I'm still a geek about that stuff. I'll have discussions. Shouldn't say arguments, but I'll have discussions. Because I still percolate coffee. I still think it's the best way to make a pot of coffee. But I would roast coffee. And I would roast little batches. When I would go into cigar shops, and we were a young company, and we didn't have, and it's changed in the business now. I don't think it's still, there's that percentage that's about the cigars, and they're geeks like me.
My smoke keeps going right at you.
You're okay.
So
I am immune to that.
But
it's okay.
It's like we're outside and it's just zeroing in on you.
It's
but anyway,
a nice atmosphere. I feel like I'm in foggy London town right now.
Okay.
But
anyway, so
they would serve Folgers, Community Brothers. They call office coffee. Yeah, they go to Costco, get a big old 50-pound can of coffee.
Yeah.
So I started bringing in something to do because we didn't have swag. They were reinvesting in the company. So fields, brokering tobacco to make sure price points didn't go up, and things like that. But it got to, the guys are like, oh, I like your cigars. Can I have a hat?
So hats and ashtrays and T-shirts weren't a priority.
No.
Gotcha.
So I would take coffee in, and as I would do the event, I would say, hey, I brought some of the coffee I roasted, and I would give some to the owner and everything. I said, do you mind if I make some? And it started off just that way, just coffee. Guys were, doing the event going, dude, this coffee's freaking awesome. It goes great with the cigar. I'm like, what's my coffee? I'm like, what's the name of it? I'm like, I don't know. I just make coffee.
My coffee.
My nickname for a long time, it was, I had two nicknames. In theater, I created one character. I do improv and stuff, too.
Okay.
And comedy, I write in things and sketches. And so I came up, I didn't want to use my real name. So I was known as Snappy from the way I dressed back in the days, even before. I wore loud, big red sport coats, paisley coats, things like that. And it was also the comebacks. I tend to be quick-witted. Mm-hmm. Sometimes not nice quick-wit, but quick-witted either way.
That's okay. I think we're too nice these days.
Yeah, and
that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. And Bigman was just my size. I'm 6'4", about 250 now.
Yeah.
And I was at the time when I was on the road, I'd like everybody else put on the pounds. Man, I was 300 pounds.
Hey, when you're eating out of the car window.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
and I tried, but it's just, and you don't exercise and you end up, and you're having a great time in the cigar lounge. And I'm not a hotel guy.
Yeah.
I don't watch television that much. So I wouldn't go back. So I would hang in the cigar shop where they close at 10 o'clock. Well, guess what? Then you go have a drink sometimes, or you go eat somewhere, at 11 o'clock after they close. So I was getting in, 1 o'clock in the morning, getting up, eating a big breakfast, skipping lunch, and then you'd be starved. And just too much.
Yeah.
Too much. But now I forgot where we were even going with this.
The coffee.
Oh, the coffee. So I started bringing the coffee in.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that around for me. At my age. No, so I started bringing the coffee in, and guys were like, well, why don't you sell it? Never thought of selling it. Mm-hmm. Well, then customers would call me up usually, or one of the owners would go, hey, can you bring some of your coffee back? So I started with, excuse me, just putting it in a Ziploc bag, and then people were like, well, nobody knows what it is, so what's the name of it? Snappy Bigman. That's what people knew me as. It was Snappy Bigman Coffee. That's how it came around. Okay. And then we bagged it. And then towards the end, what I would do is I would do pairings with coffee and cigars. I think is still the best. I'll take a whiskey, a tequila, or something on the side.
Yeah.
I still enjoy that once in a while. Not really even that much anymore. I pretty much quit drinking. Okay. I used to drink a lot. But still just coffee and a cigar, I think, is just the perfect marriage. That warmth. Really in the oils in there, blend with the oils of the cigar. And so I would do coffee pairings.
Okay.
And with the cigars.
Very cool. So then what varieties of coffee do you offer?
Right now?
Because you brought me the original.
I brought you the Havana.
No, Havana.
Yeah, that's the original.
Okay.
And how we came up with the names was, it was played off of wrapper leaves. It was still, so I was in the cigar industry. So we have a Connecticut, which is a light roast.
Okay.
A little sweetness to it. We have the Havana was just the original. We didn't know what else. We didn't know what we were going to do with. This was an accidental business, shall we say?
Yeah.
So we knew we wanted to do something. So it just fit. Cigars, Havana, nice tie-in.
Yeah.
That's like a medium roast.
I like that you put the almost like tasting notes on the
on the
sticker
bag
here. Yeah, on the bag. You got baking chocolate, tobacco, stone fruit, and harmonious.
Yeah. I always come up with one adjective. It's tough to do sometimes. But it is. It's a nice blend. It comes together well. It's a coffee you can drink any time of the day. We did an Oscuro, which is really a dark roast, an Italian roast almost.
Yeah.
But the Oscuro leaf is dark, so it's got that semi-sweet bitterness to it. Good as an espresso. We have an espresso roast, which was actually supposed to be called Corojo, because it's a true espresso roast and blend. A lot of people think espresso's got to be that dark Italian roast. It's not, or like a Cuban coffee. It's actually a coffee that you'll use for a latte. You could drink, like our, the only reason it's still called espresso is my artist at the time, when he sent all the artwork in.
Yeah.
Didn't change the name to Corojo. He sent it as espresso.
I see.
And what I paid for those labels,
you weren't going to get.
I wasn't redoing them now, because he was like, "Oh, you're going to have to pay for them." I'm like, "I'll just call it espresso."
I was say.
I'll eventually change it. So we've added some. Well, we haven't added yet. We're working. I'm not working. Neither's the guy I paid yet either. And as I always say, my coffee, me a little bitter, never my coffee though. But we're getting a new website done and everything. So we've got some other lines to add into, some single origins that we'll do. So a little bit like that. We may add some teas. I like tea once in a while, loose leaf teas and stuff like that. We're toying with that idea. So we'll have eventually probably a dozen different offerings. We've got another blend that we'll bring back. We actually did it. It's amazing what you can come up with when you're smoking cigars and drinking scotch, playing around. It's a blend that we were doing. We're working on the roast. We did basically a French roast and then a dark roast of the same beans. They came out great. They were fine. Nothing special. I mixed them up one night. I was just playing around. I was drinking.
Yeah.
And it's a very good, it's more of what I would call an evening coffee. You could do it in the morning. You could do coffee anytime you want.
Yeah.
It does play well into a cold brew or an iced coffee kind of style. But we called it Code 7. We actually did it. We were doing an event with the guys at Hill, with Tim and those guys at the Hill. They did it for the first responders.
Okay.
So we brought that coffee in. And Code 7, I'm assuming it's even with firefighters in emergency, but with police means you're on break.
Okay.
So coffee break.
Oh, nice.
So we'll actually bring that back. We do want to talk to what is it, backstoppers?
Okay.
So we'd like to donate a certain amount from every bag sold on that to the backstoppers or somebody like that.
That'd be great.
Yeah. And that was real well received. I would still run into the cops and stuff.
Yeah.
And they were like, dude, that coffee was just so freaking good. So, they were coming up to the table and we're like, take a bag.
Nice.
We had one guy who actually stepped up. One of their customers, and I don't remember his name. It was a few years back. Real nice guy. And he said, well, he wanted to buy a bag anyway. And we told him, we donated all the money.
Okay.
Straight up to those guys. He goes, how many bags you got left? I said, I don't know, like 12. Okay. He hands me the money for him. He goes, when the police come up, whoever comes up, you give them a bag of coffee. I'm like,
nice.
well, I was going to do that anyway. And he goes, well, now you're definitely going to do it. And I'm like, yeah, I think I was doing it $15 a bag.
Okay.
And so he bought, $150, $160 and just hand me the cash, and we handed it right over to the backstoppers, too.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, very cool.
Yeah, so we'll eventually do K-Cups. We had a guy to do K-Cups. We lost that. I've bounced through artists more than anything in my day.
Meaning like the graphic artist for the bag?
Yeah, trying to find guys to do stuff, trying to get guys to give you the files when you're done with it.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it's like dealing with a crazy ex. You're just like, they get mad, they do something. So we're still in a transition. It's getting there. Like I say, I've got to make a phone call. Not today, Sunday. But Monday, somebody's getting a phone call about where the hell's my new webpage.
Okay.
So we have it online. I used to have it in a lot of shops too. I mean,
Okay.
they wouldn't stock it in, things like that. So we'll do farmers markets coming up next year. We're looking at it like everybody.
Yeah, let's be real.
No.
2020 was a waste of a year. And
21 ain't too
Yeah.
freaking hot right now.
Yeah,
So
it's not too
we'll
much
look
better.
at things like that, and we've talked to some other people who like to carry it and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a great pursuit. It's a good passion. I like it. It keeps me off the streets. But I'm a one-man operation doing it. So bagging it, roasting it. Used to haul it all. Used to deliver it. So,
Yeah.
But I like it like that. We do small batches. That sounds so cliche. I hate that. We've got that on the old bag. Small batch artisan roast.
Yeah.
But it is. And but I'll be honest with you. If somebody buys me out and gives me the check, they can make millions of pounds of it. I won't care. Well, they won't. But
Well, there we go.
Yeah, we do it as orders come in.
Okay.
So, we'll roast within that week or so. There's times I get orders. I haven't gotten my beans or whatever, and I got to call guys and be like, hey, dude, your stuff's not going to go out till next week because I got to roast it, let it rest, and then, maybe 10 days, 14 days before we ship sometimes.
But I would think that those guys would understand.
Oh, they do. They
and
definitely do.
Probably even appreciate it that much more when they get it because, now they know full well that you're waiting on the beans, you're doing the process, you're doing it right, and
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
And it really does enhance the conversation, the meal, after the meal. I took one of my customers out one time. His wife and I share the same birthday. We went out to a really nice restaurant. It was a great restaurant. And I have coffee at the end of a meal a lot of times.
Okay.
I don't do desserts
Yeah.
too much. But I like a good cup of coffee, maybe a brandy with that or cognac and things like that. And this meal was at a level 10. I mean, the service, everything, the presentation, the food was just freaking delicious.
Yeah.
They bring over the coffee, and it's office coffee.
Oh.
And as you bring it up, you can smell it. It's a really... And I talked to the guy, and I said... And he doesn't use my coffee, but I said, because he was in a different town. I said, there's local coffee roasters. I would meet coffee roasters, too.
Yeah.
In cigar shops all the time. That's how I developed and learned things. I would be talking to a guy and, blah, blah, blah. And we'd be talking, oh, you're the guy with this coffee. He goes, well, I own this coffee company, this roasting company, whatever. And I'm like, can I come by and take a couple lessons? Oh, yeah, come on by, hang out. We'd be on the back dock smoking cigars for a while. Then I go in and learn how to roast coffee and things like that. And I talked to him and I said, because he asked, how was the meal? I said, everything was great till the coffee came. It just brought it down about 3 notches on there.
Yeah.
He goes, well, we don't sell a lot of coffee. Yada. I'm like, you could use a local roaster. Even if it costs you $2 to make a pot of coffee.
Yeah.
You're selling it for $3 a cup anyway. With refills, people aren't necessarily hanging out all day. This was a finer dining establishment. He ended up doing that. I ended up seeing him like a year later. Ran into him at the cigar shop.
Yeah.
And he goes, hey, I got a full coffee menu now. He went to one of the local roasters, started using roasters. It was so funny because he told me a couple of his customers were like, so did you get a new chef? Things are just so much better. And he was kind of like, I'm pissed in a way because it was his bistro. He was the chef.
Yeah.
He's like, no. He goes, I just picked up the coffee.
Interesting.
Brought it up great. Yeah.
Well, see, it's a good suggestion then.
Yeah, I didn't get a free meal out.
I was going to say. Well, there you go. So one of the things I wanted to touch base with you on too is one of the regulars over at Riverman, Bob. He speaks very highly of you.
Well, yeah, I haven't seen Bob in a while.
And Bob talks about how you are all about presentation.
Mm-hmm.
That when you do an event or something like that, like nothing is, I don't want to, put words in his mouth, but nothing is simple. Everything is very elaborate, very, very, very showman-like and everything. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about your thoughts on what makes a good cigar event. Because it seems like a lot of times in cigar shops, events basically are buy 3, get 1 free. And, look, that's a sale. That's not an event to me.
Right.
And so I'm just curious as to your thoughts on a cigar event.
A cigar event, well, here's the thing, in my opinion, cigar events went away when we were a new company, it doesn't matter. There's a lot of new companies, and the old companies had to get into the game too. Mm-hmm. General's going to own 33% of the market forever.
Yeah.
But they're coming out with new lines, and they're doing more, things like that. The events were cool because you got to meet, if not the owner of the store, you got to meet maybe a blender, or you got to at least meet the rep. You made a connection to that cigar, a little more personal. You got to hear some of the history, and I always thought that was great. If you hear a little bit about the story, or a little more knowledge, just makes more enjoyment of everything. So, when I would do events, I would show up. If the event was at 5 o'clock, I would show up at 4 o'clock, help get set up. The owners were more into it, and you just spoke. You just had conversations with you guys. I would do dinners. I wouldn't eat at the dinners because I would work the tables. I would walk around the whole time, checking with people, seeing how they liked the cigar, how we paired it with this whiskey, how the food was, and everything else. So doing those kind of things. And then it just got out of the way to where, in my opinion, it became more about the swag.
Yeah.
The 3-in-1.
Yeah.
And, you in the beginning, it was box sales because you didn't know if you could get another box of that cigar for a while sometimes, too, because guys were growing, production was down, things like that. Then you also had, like I said, bigger companies came in, they gave more stuff. And then cigar store owners, in my opinion, got in the habit of what I call filling out the calendar. I would walk into a shop and they go, hey, what are you doing in August? Because they knew my route. I would be by every month, every 2 months.
Yeah.
And it'd be like, why? Well, we want to do an event. I started going, well, how many events you got? January, February, March. So it became
one a month,
nothing to consumers, but it became a gratuitous discount day for the shop.
Yeah.
That you were going to buy your 3, get 1 free, get a raffle ticket, hopefully get the ashtray that you so damn well needed. I love that hat. Can I have that hat? I'll wear it. I'll be a great model. It's my favorite hat. Yeah, until the Oliva guy comes through, and then you get an Oliva hat, and then the Crown Heads guy comes through. You get that McGee smoked meat hat.
Yeah.
But it became that way, and they've lost that. And I found stores that do either a bigger event once a year, or do them every quarter instead of every month. They become more excitable, and people are more interested. They're not just showing up because there's an event.
Okay.
Because they're not events anymore. They're just tasting.
They're sales.
Yeah, that's all they are. All they are. We started doing, one thing I started doing was we would give, if you mixed and matched on a box. So if you bought 20 cigars, if I had 5 different lines in there, and you bought 4 of these, you got the box discount. We would, but the owners were like, well, yeah, but I'm like, what? I'm giving the free stuff.
Yeah.
So what's it matter and everything? But it's just a matter of, I think, just pacing them out. Guys still enjoy them, and they want to support the stores, so they're going to show up. And a lot of times they've talked to the rep. They want to show support for that rep who has to come in and has to schlep into town and do this stuff. But I think it's a matter of everybody. I think sometimes there's bad reps that just barely show up. I did one event at a great store in Iowa, Des Moines, and the new manager goes, "What are you doing here?" What do you mean? Because the event starts at 6. It's 4:30. So I'm going to take Greg out to dinner, but I'm going to set up for the event. And then afterwards, he's used to getting out. Guys were hanging. We were having great conversations. We were sitting in the cigar shop till 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Somebody had a bottle of scotch. We had a couple of drinks, cigars, and just talked about everything else. And I think owners have gotten lazy about it sometimes too. I would like to see events go back outside of the place. Like if you did something here at Top Shitters.
Yeah.
Do it. So you don't have to do it. When we used to do dinners and things like that, I would meet with guys. I would meet with the chef because we would really. I help blend cigars and things like that, so I do have a good palate, and so there's certain things that we would know would go well together. And the chefs would be like, "Well, I want to do this. I want to do whatever, leg of lamb, and we're going to do this with the rough mashed potatoes and that." And I'm like, "But is it on the menu?" No. Just do what's on the menu.
Yeah.
Guys really don't care if it's and we did one event. It was just burgers. We did it on the patio. It was burgers and a beer. We matched them up to the beers and everything. It was like 4 or 5 beers. It was a great event. Had a happy hour before.
And see, what's nice about that is then if those guys enjoyed that experience, they can go back to that place again, get that same burger, have that cigar with it and everything, and they can replicate that experience if they want to.
And again, you had guys that own restaurants that hung in the cigar shop, so they were wanting to get involved with that. But we would ask them, too, if they were cigar friendly. That became a thing also, because it was like, okay, you want to bring, and I tried to keep them small. I always tried to keep them under 50. I always thought 30, 35 was a good, you could work the whole room really well and give everybody the attention they deserve. And I was like, you know what? Are you cigar friendly? And they're like, what do you mean? I said, okay, so we're going to bring 35 guys. Going to have tickets, going to have the event. Now, 5 of these guys go to a ball game, and they're done golfing or whatever, 4 guys or 2 foursomes or whatever. They come back, want to sit on the patio and smoke a cigar, and grab that burger they had. And they're like, well, no. So I'm like, and it's tough to say no to somebody.
Yeah.
But we had to say, it's just not a good fit.
Yeah.
So, again, it was that
you don't want the one and out. You want the...
Right. Because if you and I went somewhere and we're like, oh, yeah, we were at that dinner, and we go back and they go, oh, you can't smoke cigars here. It's not that I'm mad. And that's fine. I want to still have that meal, but that was kind of the whole thing. It was building a community within, too, for local folks. Let's have a dinner, and that guy, send people to the cigar shop. That cigar shop, you have people like St. Louis, tourist town, people who come in, hey, where do I go?
Yeah.
This is where you want to go. Food's good at both places.
That's why we bring people here. Because with the patio and the outside here, they don't mind the cigars.
No, so not at all.
We can have cigars, and, look, I mean, it's one of those things. Is it the fanciest place in town? No, but you know what? They're cigar friendly.
Oh, there you go.
That goes a long way.
It does go a long way
for me. So, well, very cool.
Which reminds me of Key, my production assistant. She just pops in once in a while.
Yeah. So okay.
Thumbs up.
So you bring that up. So you do your own show.
Yes, I do.
Just saying.
Just saying. With the ellipsis. That's how you got to look it up.
Okay.
The ellipsis it's a thing I do. I didn't know what it was until somebody told me it was ellipsis. I just knew it was 3 dots, and somebody, actually an English person, explained what that was.
Okay.
But it was just a tagline that I used forever when I did social media.
Everyone calls it the 3 dots.
Yeah. Yep. And they were always like, and I would put stuff up. It was weird. I'm not a big fan of social media, especially now that it's unsocial media, I think. But in the beginning, it was good for business and stuff, and I had people that would follow me around. And I would actually have guys going, hey, have you posted anything in a week? I get up in the morning, I'm like, wow, you got to get a better life.
Yeah.
But I get up in the morning, see what smart ass or what inane shit you would say, and my tagline was just saying.
Yeah.
I would say whatever it was, and it was just like, that little backhanded compliment was just saying.
Just saying.
You're an idiot. Just saying. And how that started was when I was in Chicago. There was a group we hung out with, and it was just saying. Don't mean anything bad by it. Just saying. And it just got sort of just saying became a tagline for me and everything.
Yeah. So then it's a video cast.
It is a video cast. We shoot it at Midcoast Media Studios in St. Louis. Great guys. Chris Denman owns that. He does a lot of podcasts and things. And we liked it. I like the video. I'm a stage person. I've acted, and like I said, I do improv and stuff. And do we have to do it with the video? I think it's fun.
Yeah.
I miss it. I used to be in radio and television when I first got out of school and everything. Yeah, for about 10 years. Just kept getting fired, couldn't make any money, and went on to do something else. But I like doing that. We get in studio guest. My co-host right now, we'll see. We'll talk.
Okay.
But no, I started with the co-host Paul Votto, who owns a shop in Old Vegas.
Oh, really?
In Binions, called Vado Cigars. So if you're ever in Vegas, drop by, tell him Snappy sent you in.
Okay.
He'll charge you an extra $1 because we don't always get along after production meetings.
I've been to Binions. That's the funny thing. Yeah.
He's got this little, what used to be the old, his shop was located in the old check-in desk from way back when. They just moved somewhere else into the casino. But he's a fellow improviser from Chicago. He started a group called Salsation, which is still playing in Chicago. They split. He moved out to L.A., worked there, did acting and things. He's been on some. He was on a soap opera, had a few episodes. He's been little cameo spots on like Mad TV back in the day.
Okay.
There was a group that hung out, and they were part of the Chicago crew, and so they would get invited on and stuff like that. And he's a great guy, good, really nice guy. Good cigar guy, has his own line of cigars out too, which are excellent cigars. And so we knew each other, and we have those connecting backgrounds. And so it brought him in as a co-host. Like I say, we have little issues once in a while.
That's all right.
We'll talk about it.
I mean, I got my own issues with Gator.
Well, there you go.
Whatnot. So
yeah. But no, so we have fun doing it. It's just for shits and giggles more than anything. I don't golf anymore. My son moved away, so I don't have a golfing partner. Okay. Plus, I don't need me walking around that much anymore. I don't like cards. It's not walking, but I don't. So I got money to spend, so to speak. So I'm the producer.
Okay.
Which is just the fancy way is I'm paying the rent on the studio.
Yeah, you're doing
That's
the work.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah, you can find us on YouTube. And eventually we'll have somebody show us how to put it on Apple and the other places. So we're on Spotify.
Yeah.
It's funny because I'll check things, and it's more from a theatrical standpoint. I'll watch and critique myself or whatever, mushmouth and things like that. But I tend to, I'm a visual person, so I tend to enjoy the shows, and I'll watch those. And then when I listen to them on Spotify or one of the other podcast platforms, I think there's something missing if you don't see the reaction there. You can hear it. You can hear it in the inflection. But I like looking at myself. Ask my wife; she'll tell me.
Okay. No, that's fair. And we've talked about one day adding video. It's funny. We're doing the opposite. It's like you're talking about one day going just putting it out for the audio side and everything. But like we've talked about one day going on the video side. And for us, since we travel around, and everything, it's kind of hard for me to set up all the equipment and everything.
But I'll tell you what, nowadays I was talking to a couple guys, and I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
yeah, it's getting you can shoot them. I get guys who are shooting stuff on their phone, and they do the editing and stuff. So it's gotten a lot easier. I got a new phone finally. Got the 12 Pro.
I've got that too. I like it.
Dude, I like it. And you can shoot that stuff right on there, and you can feed in and everything. So we're looking at that because I'm going to go ahead and get some equipment too, because we're still playing with it. Because we'd like to take it to cigar shops once in a while.
Yeah.
Do the same thing on the road.
That'd be neat.
Because you can't smoke in the studio.
I was going to ask you about that because I didn't think you smoked on your show.
No.
And that was also my other thing. It's like, if I could have a studio where I had a regular base of operations that I could, we could go to and we could do the show, that's great. But it's got to be somewhere that's cigar friendly.
Right.
And that's very hard to
that
find.
You're gonna have it unless that guy's owning.
Pretty much you're doing it yourself.
Yeah, if he's owning his own building, then maybe you could smoke in there. We do it at the Zach building on Locust. It's a great studio. The people are Midcoast Media is wonderful. I will tout people. I'll tell you, even if I don't like them, don't use them. But I mean, I'll talk bad about people. I don't care. But they do a great job for us. He produces Sunday Papers with Greg Fitzsimmons. He does Two Funny Mamas, a couple other things. He's got a lot going on too. Okay. He's going to be doing a lot more. I love the studio. The production staff that we get to use. Key that I mentioned is the best production assistant I've ever had. She brings coffee to me and my guest, or water. The guys who run the boards are all great people. They're all either they've kind of rerouted their lives too. A couple of magicians, a couple of musicians. Monk is one. He usually runs the board when I'm there and everything. So it's just a good group. They do quality work. I tell anybody if you're looking for things, they've got print that they do. Also, they'll do shirts and merch and all that stuff. They do great designs, good graphic artists and everything. I'm not going to mention his name because he's the one I got to talk to on the website. But John Beeves, who has by Jack is what it's called. You can find him online. He does a lot of the St. Louis shirts that you'll see and everything.
Yeah.
And that old 70s retro where, bum, 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 says St. Louis, or he does different neighborhoods and everything. Yeah. He actually does, one comedian, I can't remember his name, he does some stuff for. And he does a lot of stuff for Pauly Shore. And everything, the crusty hats and all that. So they're good people. They do great quality work. When they do their work, hold on, that's me being bitter, not my coffee. But so we like doing that. It's fun. I could do it myself, and I'll still probably patch in and use them because I just don't want to take the time to edit everything down.
That's the other thing. Is I've gotten the audio editing down pretty well, but the video editing, it's a little slightly different animal. And sometimes Jeff and I say something that maybe we don't want to make it.
Right.
It's like one of those things you say it and you're like, maybe we probably ought to cut that.
Yeah, we should cut that out.
And
we don't do a lot of editing. I mean, I got the bare bones minimum contract with him. I give him coffee for their other shows. He has a show coming. I think it's coming back if it hasn't come back yet. It's called Drinks with the Band.
Okay.
Jack Daniels is a big sponsor for them.
Yeah.
He's doing some other stuff. So I give him coffee. Get a little name mention here and there. They like the coffee anyway. The other day, I got to start carrying my camera or my phone. I call her Sally because they're not phones. They're everything. They're computers.
They're everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they are.
exactly.
And I was walking in, and Key was there, and Grace, one of the other girls who does some of the work there too. And I was getting ready to shoot a show. I brought in a 5-pound bag of coffee. I roasted it up and just put it in a bulk bag that we used to use. And they were like, oh, we got coffee. I'm like, oh, I just missed a moment with that one. But, he's got a good studio and everything. I like to do it. So we do it for fun. It's called Just Saying Everyday Conversations. And it's basically I've had fellow improvisers on. I've had reps from cigar business.
I'll say you had Trey Mack from Aladino on.
Yeah, I did. And your check's getting cut off, by the way. No, you're like, son of a... No, but no, he's great. I met Trey. God, we were talking about that on the show. I've known him for a dozen years, if not longer.
Wow.
Yeah. Met him when he was just a customer at Central Cigars at the time in Lawrence, Kansas. And then a relationship has just developed. He was nice enough to come on the show. I had a great time with him. He's just a blast.
He's a good cat.
We play well off of each other. He'll actually... I always tell people, I told him on the show too, we always invite people back. We've only done like 9 shows, but I'm like, come on back on the show sometime. We'll talk again.
Yeah.
You know why? Because I got to get backup. Because I call people, hey, you want to be a guest on the show? We shoot on Tuesdays. And they're like, I don't know if I can make it. Well, we've already rented the studio, so I got to find somebody. I'll just call Trey. Hey, you want to be on the show again? He's egotistical. He'll come back in a heartbeat. But he's a great guy. Great guy. So we just do it for fun. And it's the same thing that I did in cigar shops.
Yeah.
There was one gentleman, Mark Sandler, great guy. I've never met him in my life. We just know each other from Facebook or whatever. I reached out one time, put a post out saying something about we're going to have a show. Anybody want to be a guest? He's like, I'll be a guest. I'm like, so I had a guest actually lined up. I don't know if I ever told Mark this story. I had a guest lined up, and he canceled last minute.
Okay.
A couple days before. It wasn't like he canceled that day.
Yeah.
But a couple of days before, he goes, I'm not going to be able to do this. And it was an in-studio guest. So I put out a post. I said, who wants to be a guest? I need somebody. Mark's like, I'll do it. Great guy. He's, I think, a financial guy, investment guy. He's in Philadelphia, just outside. Knows Bobby Levin, Holtz, and all that. Hangs with those guys. Cigar smoker. Had him on. We never really had a conversation. He sent me a little bit of a bio. And, again, just a friendship over the airwaves that has developed or through social media, that common bond is cigar smokers, and it was amazing. The same things we have to talk about.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it's a name. We don't care who we piss off on the show. We really don't edit anything. We tell people what but the only editing we do is they'll put up a graphic. Everybody gets a nickname.
Okay.
That comes on my show.
What was Trey's nickname?
Honeydew.
Honeydew.
Honeydew. Because of the size of his head.
I was going to say, his head kind of looks like a melon.
Yeah, so, well, you know, when I said watermelon, it's more like a honeydew, and it's funny because I usually pick the nicknames out from things. And he goes, let Monk do it. And Monk came out after the show, and he goes, dude, you got to go with honeydew. Look at that head. I'm like, okay. So it's Trey Mack, Honeydew Shipley. But everybody gets a nickname. It's just something we do. We're not as eloquent and professional as you are on your show. But I have fun doing it, I got an ego. I like watching myself on YouTube. I'll admit it. I don't care. We got other people that are following. We're just building it up. It's something to do. It's a good way to launder money. Don't worry about it.
There you go.
I get a kickback. But no, it's a lot of fun. We'll have some other shows coming up. We do about 2 a month.
Okay.
If we don't get bumped. We got bumped last week.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Chris is getting big time.
Oh, man.
Another one he had to do, and I got time. Like, hope you're not mad. I'm like, I'm pissed off at Biebs. I'm not mad at you yet. But it's just fun. And we talk about the same thing that always happened in the cigar shop.
Yeah.
We don't really delve into hardcore politics or anything like that.
Yeah.
There's times I will start to slip and go, just keep it, happy. But
Gator likes to do that periodically.
it's just guy talk.
Yeah.
We'll talk about things in life in general. A lot of it's interview to a point, just to hear their stories, which I did that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fun. But yeah, we like doing the video part of it. It's a good time.
Very cool. So let's talk about the cigar for a minute. I need to get a drink of my cool beverage there. So we have the Yagua. You're touching yours up because, as we've pointed out, we're in a wind tunnel, and you've been talking. So you gotta relight yours a little bit. So I'm much further ahead than you because I haven't been talking. So
you're a good listener. You make me feel important.
I'm an interviewer. It's my skill from the newspaper side of things.
Well, we're actually going to have to extend the invitation now to have you on the show sometime.
Well, I would like that very much.
I don't know if the studio is big enough for you and Gator, but
he
might get bumped.
Gator's not here, so
so you know what? The invitation's out on the table now. Would you like to come on my show sometime?
I would very much like
that. Would be fun in the studio. Is that okay?
Oh, that's perfectly fine.
Right, we can go have a cigar afterwards.
Sounds like a plan. So, what are you getting with the Yagua here?
I'm getting more. Almost a little bit of a leather undertone on that.
Okay.
Have you ever heard the word cordovan?
No.
This goes back old days. Okay, so I'm older than you. I remember, and this is a smell and a taste I get, penny loafers.
Okay.
The old penny loafer,
yeah.
that burgundy color. It was called cordovan.
Okay.
And that shoe polish always had a certain smell to it. Obviously, olfactory is going to be in that mouth.
Yeah.
So I'm getting a little bit of leather, more of a cordovan, a semi-sweetness.
Okay.
But a dull semi-sweetness.
Let me know, because like I said, I'm probably at about right at the edge of the final third here. You're at about maybe the halfway point.
Mark.
When you start getting further down in that second half or second third, let me know if you start picking up any sort of spice. I'm getting like little tingles in the mouth. Just not. It's not heavy. It's not big. It's not very present. But just little
just on the
hints
back
of it,
side of it,
little back side of it, a little bit in the retrohale, just a little bit.
It's gotten thicker in the taste.
Yes.
The smoke has a viscosity to it, if that makes sense. That it lingers a little more, so the oils are building up inside the palate.
Okay.
So it's a little chewy even.
Yeah.
And that's a phrase, I'm a Scotch guy, and that's the phrase you'll use with Scotch, and it is, where I'm, after the exhale, I'm still moving that tongue around going, oh yeah, there's a little something there, there's a little something on that side. Yeah. I'll tell you what, it's a good burning cigar for the wind tunnel.
Yeah.
It's held up well.
It has held up. And I mean, my burn line, I'm being a little generous with it considering, the wind and everything like that.
Yeah.
Burn line's been really, really good. Construction's been great. I haven't had an issue with that.
See, when you got video going, we could go look at this one.
Look at that.
Right? No, this is, look at the line on this.
You have a really solid,
I only had to touch it up one
line.
time because it was sitting there and the wind was blowing a little harder.
Yeah.
So it's got a tight line on it. It's got a great carbon ring. It's got a nice flavor. I would call it more of a midday smoke for me.
Yeah.
It's something that you could enjoy, but I think you don't have to think about it.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
No, it does. It totally does.
There's times you walk into the humidor or whatever and you go, I want this. I don't want. This is a solid, I want a cigar. I'll go to that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a good stick.
So going into the humidor. You're going into a humidor. What are you finding? What are you smoking these days?
Me, I'm smoking stuff I got left over from being around.
Well, okay.
But no, I smoke a lot of Perdomo.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of the champagne of always.
Yep.
That's just always a good cigar.
Yep.
Still smoke Rocky, Fuente. I'm on a Zeno Nicaraguan kick right now.
Yeah.
Man, that's good.
It's a good cigar, especially for the price point.
I know.
I mean, it's a solid cigar for that price point.
It
and
is.
everything.
It's really good. Big fan of AJ's.
Yeah.
Anything he does. I'm really a big fan of. When I started smoking premiums, you could get, and I would buy. I was a kid. I was 20-something, 20 years old. I would get Tiamo. Everybody knew Tiamo. I miss that cigar still.
My dad loves that cigar, and he actually found some at this place in Indianapolis, and he sent 2 of them to us to when we were doing the Battle of the Budgets. And we ended up doing like a subsequent episode where it was listener suggestions, and we smoked that one. And the thing that impressed me more than anything about the Tiamo was it was a good cigar. It was a solid, everything. You checked off the boxes on it. But more than anything is the fact that we let that thing sit while we tried other cigars, and we came back to it, and every time it was still lit and still going.
Yeah, it's called a dashboard test, too.
It was great.
Leave a cigar in the car overnight and light it up the next day and see if you can smoke it or not.
Yeah.
That's a mark. Well, we did that all the time.
We didn't even need to light it back up. I mean,
wow,
it was still sitting there. It was still burning and Smoldering everything.
around.
I mean, you maybe had to draw on it a little bit to get it going again. But it was still going.
No, I like those.
I liked that.
Yeah, I smoked. I mean, I would do bundles. I did Macanudo, and I still smoke Macanudo today. I hate when guys are like, "Oh, Macanudo's full of air." I'm like, dude, it's a great morning cigar. I get up at 4:30 in the morning almost every day, go downstairs, make coffee for the wife, take it up to her, and then I go back downstairs and putzing around with business or whatever else. And I'll usually have like a little, I can't even think of the name of it. It's a little small petite Corona one. They do it's in a tube. I can't think. It's not the Hampton Court, but I'll have that and a cup of coffee in the morning. It's a great cigar. I smoked. I've smoked the whole gambit. But those are the ones I tend to go to, like an Ashton once in a while.
Yeah.
Got to be in the mood for that though, and that's definitely a morning cigar for me. Their Virgin Sun-Grown is a great cigar.
Yeah.
My father does great stuff. So yeah, I pretty much do anybody and everybody. Because I basically grew up with all these guys.
Yeah.
I was in that business when they were all starting and everything. So I've seen some great stuff come out. I've seen some crappy stuff come out. Seen some stuff that's gone away. Thank God it did. Other ones I missed. One of the first cigars I smoked when I was smoking, let's say higher end, was H. Upman, the old Cameroon. And they did. I still have about 4 boxes of them. I got to walk in humidor in my house. And I still got about 4 boxes of those things.
Wow.
And when they're gone, they're gone. I don't care. I mean, people come over. I'm like, grab a cigar, and they go, "Well, this is all you got." I don't care. I got 10,000 cigars. I'll find something to smoke. But I like what they used to do, and I love the collaboration between AJ on the Upman.
Yes.
I think that is one rock solid cigar. God, that is so good. Yep. Especially, and I've done the tour, and I'm more of a Robusto. I'm really a Corona. I'll do Lanceros once in a while. I find, because I got to blend and work on blends with Ralph Montero, who's the partner at Alec Bradley. And I learned a lot from Ralph. And, I had a good palate. And I'll say that because he told me that. So if Ralph tells me I got a good palate, and Ralph knows his shit, man, let me tell you. He knows his stuff. He's great. I like that kind of stuff. So I like those solid cigars. I like just about anything. It just depends on the mood.
Okay.
The La Roma de Cuba. Yeah. That's a good stick.
I'll tell you the one that I've been smoking a lot of, and I know you like it as well, is the Romeo y Julieta, the Reserva Real. The Nicaragua. Yes. Which is also an AJ
That's an AJ one, too.
Dude, I've been
I had one of those the other
like
night.
God,
that's good. Have you ever had
It's the best Romeo that I think is out
right
now.
I think so, too.
I cannot find another Romeo that I think I like.
Have you ever smoked a Romeo?
No, just the Romeo.
Yeah.
No.
Try that.
Okay.
Try that. That is a good cigar. I think they came out with that cigar. It's not for a Romeo smoker.
Okay.
I think it got lost in the shuffle. The guys were expanding their palates.
Yeah.
Because you go back to before the boom in the 90s, guys were like cigarette smokers to a point. They only smoked one thing because there was only so many brands.
Yeah.
There was Macanudo in a white box, Punch in a blue box, Hoya in a brown box. Biggest mistake they ever did marketing was putting bands on the Rothschild. Because you would run, they never had, did you not know this?
No.
They never had bands on the Rothschild. And they came in a box of 50.
Okay.
And they came out of the same factory. I swear to God, it's the same frickin' cigar. So if you ran out, and I had this happen, I did this. I'll admit to it now.
Okay.
Statute of limitations are over. They can't sue me. You'd run out of punch. So you'd open a box of Hoya, and you just put them in the punch box. Guys would come in, they go, you don't have any punch Rothschilds. I got some Hoya de Monterey. Not the same thing.
Yeah.
Take it out, put it in. There was no ban on them. When they started banning them, it just ruined it.
Yeah.
Because you're like, well, now I can't do that. But, you had, like I say, Punch in the Blue Box. You had Fuente. Fuente wasn't anybody back in that day.
Yeah.
Before the boom, before Marv hooked in with him, they still put cigars in consignment from what I heard.
Really?
Yeah. And they've really stepped up their game, though.
Yeah.
I mean, they make some quality stuff. Have you ever tried Chillin' Moose from General?
I have.
I'll tell you what, that's one of those.
For a budget cigar?
Yep.
No, that's a tasty cigar, too.
That's a good cigar.
Yeah.
But you got to like that heaviness
Mhm.
because it is heavy.
Yeah.
But no, I'm a big fan of Crown Head stuff. Christoph Glen Case, his cigars.
Have you had the 2021 Las Calaveras yet?
Not yet.
Ah, damn. That was another one I was thinking about for today, actually. So.
I really like their stuff. And Brian McGee, who's the rep, who I know. I don't know Uber or anybody. I mean, I've met a lot of these guys.
Mhm.
We're acquainted if we saw each other. We know each other, give that nod as we walk. Some of the guys I knew better. But, yeah, the stuff that the Crown Heads puts out, yeah.
They're just based down in, Nashville, right?
Yeah. He started, it's weird. Uber started when CAO was around.
Uh-huh.
And CAO was actually in the humidor business.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Ojaner, I can't think of his first name. Tim is his son who took over. He eventually sold out. But they were humidors, and they started coming out with their own lines, the CAO line. They did great. Then they ran out of tobacco, and they went to shit. Then they came back, got more tobacco and everything. They do a good cigar today, again. Yeah. I like the, what is it? The, not Diesel. God damn. They have one with the carb. It's got the little pinup girl in the thing.
It's the block. Big block is the 60. What?
Yeah.
Damn it. I know what you're talking about.
You know which one we're talking about. Yeah, CAO. But, do I get to put up my address later so they can send me more stuff? Because I'm that mooch now.
Yeah.
Okay,
We'll
good.
totally, we'll hoard this out. It's fine.
Fine. Now I'm feeling really comfortable. But, no, they do some good stuff now, too. But, yeah, they started out. Well, Uber started out, I think he was in the warehouse, if I remember the story right.
Okay.
He was, like, packing and stuff like that. From what I remember reading an article about him, that he started doing, like, cigars were hot. It was the boom time and everything. So he started doing, like, he was on one of the radio stations, I think, doing, like, cigar reviews and things like that. And they didn't know he was doing it, they were all cool with it and everything. And then he went and became sales and everything. He's really good. They get to work with Ernesto Carrillo, who I got to meet 25, 30 years ago. That's one guy. We did blends and stuff for people. I got to work with some of the other folks when we do these. That's one guy I would love to do a cigar with.
Yeah.
He is just such a genuine guy. His dad, I don't know if you know the background on him.
No, I don't.
He was actually wanted to be a musician.
Okay.
He was in New York. And what's funny is people don't know the whole story. He was in New York. Dad was getting older. Cuban family. A lot of tradition in that. You take care of family. He came back. I mean, he will admit, or at least in my story he will, that he wasn't going to make it big time. Didn't have that. But he was a good jazz musician. Came back, but his dad sold him the company. He didn't just give it to him. A lot of people thought Pop said, here you go. He's like, nope. He told the son, hey, you went and did that. Now you're going to pay for this. But he ended up doing, I remember I would order cigars for him. I don't think he was supposed to ship. And it was just on a 8x11 piece of paper with the Charlemagne, the Wavell, and everything else. And then he was the second biggest hit for Cigar Aficionado. He went from selling maybe 250,000 sticks a year to 40 million in back order on the Wavell when he got the rating back in the day. That's another thing that's changed is the rating system.
Yeah.
I mean, for anybody to get a 90, my God, now they give them away like it's
no big deal.
Getting them 2 for 10.
Yeah. Yeah, anymore. I mean, my God, if you're in the low 80s, then that's like a bad score for you, and it's just
There's some like sometimes there's guys like me though. Like when that lower score comes in, I'm like, good. You didn't pay for your advertising. I don't care. Now nobody will buy the hell out of this cigar either.
Yeah.
But there's so much stuff now, and guys have, I think it's to a point slowed down on that. When I was on the road the last couple of years, I would ask guys, give me your top 5 cigars. Give me a handful of cigars. They go, what do you mean? Your top 5.
Yeah.
And they would name Rocky, La Flor Dominicana, Perdomo. And they would come up with another two. They kind of smoke those all the time. I think it slowed down where that's where I think events are not as big as they used to be because guys are like, I just want to smoke my cigar. I want to hang out with my friend and smoke my cigar. Yeah. And I mean, their friend's that cigar. They know that cigar. They're comfortable with that cigar. They don't want to try anything new anymore. They're tired of trying it. I don't think guys try cigars right. When I had my shop, when I would rep and work the humidor and stuff, guys would come in and go, give me one of those, one of those, one of those. And I was always like, take 3. And they're like, well, yeah, but I said, look, if you try out of my line 3 different cigars, you automatically compare it to what you smoke on a regular basis. Yeah. You don't say I like it. You'll say you like it, but you'll say, but it's not my Romeo. Yeah. It's not my AJ. You got to find what attributes are in that cigar, how it holds up to a drink, how it holds up to a meal, how it holds up just smoking it, whether it draws well and everything else. But, I mean, the days of changing, when you get a new cigar come out, it's pretty much solid. I mean, there was a lot of shit that went on in the cigar business where guys were not from Cuba or from Nicaragua or whatever, and they went down there. The gringos who got into the cigar business back during the boom, and they would negotiate pricing. And what happened was, people in America know the more you buy here, the less you pay. Down there, it doesn't work that way. If you're paying, and we'll just do simple math, $1 a stick, and you order 10,000 cigars, and you would renegotiate pricing if some were not drawing or whatever else, and you would go back. Now you got a rating. You need 100,000 cigars. Now it's $1.50 or $1.75 a stick for that tobacco. It was good marketing back there for those guys. Wow! But then they would say, but I've got this tobacco, just like it. I'll give it that for $1 a stick. And the guys would take a cigar they liked for a year or so, and they'd smoke something new and go, this isn't the same. Thank you. This isn't the same cigar. Yeah. And so, I mean, now the companies are big enough, and the ones have become solidified. There's still new startups I see once in a while. It's hard. If you flip through the old magazines, look at how many cigars aren't there anymore. Yeah. That have disappeared.
So are there any that maybe have disappeared that you... I mean, you mentioned the Upman Cameroon earlier, but other than that, is there any other cigar that maybe used to be out that you can't get now that you're just sitting back going, God, I wish I would have been able to get some of those?
There's more? Yeah, there was one company, Havana Gold. Okay. They were East Coast guys started. They made a great cigar. It was the Havana Gold Silver. Just had this almost metallic taste to it. It was just it sat well on the palate. They went out of business. Mi Cubano. They used to pack in a palm leaf, is how they packed theirs. It was a great cigar. Now, they got bought, I think, by General. They changed that blend. They had to. Besides that, there's not a lot that have gone away. Some of it gets to the point where some cigars go away because you got to look at production cost. Yeah. You're selling X amount of cigars. You're selling 500,000 sticks of this. You're selling 4 million of that. You got to make a business decision. Is it worth
continuing on?
Yeah. But as these guys have made more consistent product, better construction, better tobacco they're using. Now, if something goes away, people are still like, okie dokie. And, guys get in the habit of smoking cigars. They forget why they smoke something. And they go back to it and they're like, why'd I ever quit? Yeah. Because you've got so many choices now. Yeah. You've got a dozen cigars.
So let me ask, maybe not so much this year because it feels like with 2020, whatever issues maybe happened with the manufacturers through COVID, possibly you can attribute some of it to uncertainty with FDA regulations and whatever else. There hasn't been quite as many of the limited, but it seems like for the last number of years, there's been a lot of like the limited releases. And to an extent, we're smoking the Yagua today. It's 1,000 boxes released one time, this year. It was released last year about this same time and everything, but it's kind of a limited release. So, I mean, but you have some companies that it seems like they thrive almost on the limited releases and less so on their core line.
Right.
And so what are your thoughts on limited releases?
I think limited releases, most of the time, in my opinion, are great marketing.
Okay.
It's kind of like here in Illinois. Well, yeah, we're still in Illinois. We're close, though. We're close to Missouri.
We're in God's country in
yes,
Illinois,
we are.
though.
But Yuengling beer, for example, can't get it.
Yeah.
People want it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yuengling's nothing. They make some great beers, but the regular beer is on the line of Stag, Pabst. It's just a beer.
Yeah.
But you can't have it. I think that's the same way with limited releases. I think some of the cigars are freaking fantastic. I wish it would have more. Maybe they only had so much tobacco. A lot of times I think it's marketing that it only comes out once a year. So you're more apt to buy a box of them, and you'll hurt yourself.
I just burnt myself.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and cap that off there.
But so I think part of it is really marketing behind it. You know, it's only coming out once a year. It's only going to be there. Is it that great necessarily? It's that you can't get it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when I still today, people ask, Cuban cigars.
Yeah.
I've done it for 40 years. Most of the time you get them, they're counterfeited anyway.
Yep.
When people would come into the shop and ask that, I would tell them, did you enjoy it? Yep. And it was a Cuban cigar.
That's all that matters.
It's all that matters. Even though you told me the story that you went down to Mexico, you went to the SA shop, and he was charging you $12 for a Series 4 Partagas.
In like a glass top case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm not paying that. And some guy walked up to you on the beach, had a duffel bag full of cigars, my friend.
My cousin works in the factory, and he takes them out the back door at night. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'll let you have them, senor. 3 for $5. Oh, it was the best cigar I ever had. And you take guys, that don't smoke that heavy, because they are heavier cigars.
Yeah.
It's the enjoyment. It's most of the time, I could tell you, as a rep, and I wasn't the only one who got asked, all the reps, what's the best cigar you've ever had? That was a question. And most people we all had a pat answer, the same answer, the one I got right now.
There you go.
That was the one. I had great times, my brother's wedding. But they since went out of business. I love those. And El Sublimato. Okay. It was cognac infused. She was a sweetheart. There was a long history with that, too. Her old man had the business before she took over. The Broom did great. It was family fight. There was a lot of family fights going on in those days when money started rolling in. It's amazing how that can ruin things.
Yeah.
It was a great cigar. I remember that one. I brought it for his wedding.
Okay.
But there's other times I was with folks at a barbecue, at a Father's Day thing or something. I was on the road and just hang out with somebody. We had some of the greatest conversations and just fun, but I couldn't tell you what the cigar was.
Yeah.
But that cigar was beautiful that time.
Yeah.
So
it's more about the experience of what you're doing when you're smoking.
This is a vehicle.
Yeah.
A vehicle to conversation, to drinks or whatever. And even the drinks are conversation. Are vehicles. It's about who you're with, your mood, everything else. You can take a cigar, have a great day, finish up the podcast and go, damn, I rocked it out. And you're smoking whatever. You're smoking a Perdomo champagne, and you're going, man, this is a good cigar.
Yep.
You're smoking anything from Aladino. It's a great cigar. And there's other times you got a bad day. The bills are coming due. Somebody dinged your car in the parking lot, didn't leave a note. You sit down, and that cigar is comforting. It doesn't taste as good.
I was just about to say, it's not quite as good, though. You're right. It's kind of your mood definitely impacts.
Oh, yeah.
The cigar itself.
Who you're with, where you're with.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
It definitely does.
Well, very cool. Well, seeing as this is a Tuesday show,
okay,
why don't we go ahead and do the Ask the Boys segment, where listeners call in with their questions. And normally Gator and I would do this. Some of these can be kind of wretched, but you have fun with it.
Okay.
And
I'm good. I'm open.
I would say we'll do this. This will be fun. So,
shall we play a game?
You talking to me? I have a question for you.
You gotta ask me nicely.
Ask me about my wiener.
You got a question? You ask the 8-ball.
Come on, sucker. Let's get it on.
All right, guys. So it's time for Ask the Boys, where we answer your listener questions. And you got to get those questions into us by calling the Ask the Boys hotline at area code 863-874-0000. Leave a message. Doesn't have to be about cigars. Can be about whatever you want. And we will go ahead and kick this off with the first question now.
Hey, fella. It's Clay. Guess what, motherfucker? Cigars I enjoyed recently. I thought I'd share with y'all. Number one is going to be the new 2021 Las Calaveras. Very good stick. Really, really enjoy it. I think it's the best one they've released in years. The next one was a surprise to me, but the Hammer and Sickle Connecticut Toro. Very creamy, very good tasting cigar for not very much money. So definitely followed some advertising cues from the Cigar Authority on that one. Saw one, thought I'd pick it up, and really enjoyed it. And then finally got my hands on a Ave Maria, and that was a pretty good stick here. So the 3 cigars that I've enjoyed recently, I thought I'd share with y'all. And as far as I know, y'all requested a suggestion for different segments to do. I'll keep thinking, but off the top of my head, I think that not enough attention maybe is given to cigar newbies, and maybe just some like a segment on one fact or a couple facts or some sort of help, assistance, guidelines, something, I don't know, regarding just cigar basics 101. So anyway, that's all I've got. Y'all stay safe and stay smoky, and look forward to listening to the show. Talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks, Clay. So, Clay, on our Friday show, we do a thing where we talk about 3 cigars that we smoked and enjoyed this week. So he gave us some of his cigars that he smoked and enjoyed this week, and brought up that Las Calaveras.
Yeah, I know. That just made my mouth water.
We're going to have to get you one of those.
I will get one. I will find one.
But
he had a good selection of cigars. I'll be honest though, now I'll have to try he said the new Hammer and Sickle.
The Hammer and Sickle Connecticut.
Because I was never, it was a good cigar. I'm never going to knock anybody's cigar publicly, so to speak. But I mean, it just, for my palate, it never sat right.
Okay.
I was not a big fan of their stuff. Just not. But now, again, you get a suggestion. I'll go back and revisit.
I've maybe had one. Came in a Cigar Authority show pack, and it wasn't bad. I couldn't tell you what it was. Couldn't tell you anything about it.
It was a cigar. There you go. Exactly. It wasn't anything I would go, wow.
Yeah.
It was just, it was okay.
Okay. Well, we'll have to look at that. So his other point, though, Cigar Basics, we put out a call asking for any suggestions for any segment ideas that people may have, and I don't know. Do you have any quick hit Cigar 101 basics people need to know?
Oh, just the same thing that gets hammered all the time. But respect when you're in a cigar shop. You smoke what is in that cigar shop.
Yes.
You don't bring other cigars.
You don't.
Always support that brick and mortar. One thing is, and this was always a crawl where somebody would say, I can get it, and I understand online sales, but I can get it for this. To a cigar owner. But he's also, especially nowadays where you're so limited to go, you've got to support that owner. You've got to have that. But etiquette is just take opinions from other folks, because nobody, every now and then, again, we always go back to that one guy. What are you smoking that crap for? That's no way, dude. He's smoking it for a reason. So learn from other people when they tell you stuff, but still form your own opinion. I mean, I'm not a ratings guy.
Yeah.
If I like the cigar, I like the cigar. And I think that's one thing newbies need to find is if you like it, it's a good cigar. Doesn't matter what other people say. The other thing is, too, we mentioned earlier, was work with a cigar for a while. I'm not saying you got to buy a box, but if you're trying something new, go through 4 or 5 sticks before you make that judgment call on it. I think you'll find those attributes. You'll find what you like about it, what you don't like necessarily. When you like to smoke it, and sometimes it comes down to who you're with again.
Yeah.
You might have had that Ave Maria with a friend, and it was a great time. That has a big play into it. But the biggest thing is, do you like it or not? That's the first rule of thumb.
Very cool. All right, moving on to the next call here.
Howdy, boys. This is, I left a message last time. You answered it on this last show. This was Tuesday. And listening to my message, I realized I forgot to leave my name. I was rude to me. I'm the one that took a dump. You inspired me to do that. My name's Kingston from Wyoming. And I just wanted to say thank you very much for answering my questions, you guys. Well done. Thank you. First thing is first, the cereal challenge. I only bring this up because, Nick, I think it's easy. I think that's a problem for anybody with any skills. So my wife actually just did it because she bought the generic one because she thought it was cheaper. And I said, ugh. I don't mind it, but I prefer the original. Anyway, she said I couldn't figure out the two, and so, I went and bought a box of regular. Anyway, fucking easy. I did it.
It is easy.
It's not a problem. Now, granted, you're going to have more cereals. It's going to be, you're going to be under the spotlight, but I got faith in you. Good luck. And I think that ESG hopefully will be coming your way. I got two questions. One would be, right now I'm smoking a Macanudo Black Inspirado. I think one of my coworkers gave this to me. Have you ever had one of these? And I looked it up. It doesn't have a sweet tip, but there's something sweet on this. And it's like on the tip there. It didn't say advertised. Have you ever had one? Your thoughts? Is it a good cigar in your opinion? Et cetera, et cetera. And then the other one, I work in a stressful, my job is in law enforcement, very stressful. And I'm wondering if I can get like a box of sticks for my coworkers. Some of them are into cigars. A couple of them are really into them. What are they like? Are there cigars that would be good for stress and that are kind of funny? Or do you have one that you smoke when you're stressed out? And then I guess the secondary part would be if I'm going to buy a box of sticks for the boys at work, are there any pig-oriented or law enforcement bacon stuff like that might raise a chuckle, but won't break the bank because we don't make very much money. Anywho, though, I appreciate it. Stay smoky, gentlemen, and have fun at your lounges. I don't have a lounge in Wyoming because shit in Wyoming. Except for, well, there's a lot of quiet except at work. Okay, well, stay smoky, guys. Thank you for answering my question. Bye-bye.
Okay, so first of all, the Macanudo Black Inspirado, I think you said. I haven't had one. Have you had one?
I have not had that. I've had the Inspirado, some of the Inspirados.
Yeah.
I really like the orange one they have because they've got a white, red. I didn't even know they had a black.
Okay.
To be honest, I haven't seen it. I like what they've done in general. I've never had the black, but I think Macanudo did a great job when they went away from trying to make. I mean, they've come up with some losers, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, Diebel, 3-time loser. Brought that back. Stradivarius. I think when they went back to what they have done well for so many years and just built upon that line, I think that Inspirado is a rock-ass cigar for what they do. And that's a cigar that you can take a novice, he'll enjoy it. You can take a seasoned smoker and he'll enjoy it. Maybe at different times, but it's a solid cigar all the way around.
Okay.
Now I'll have to find the black.
I'll track down a black. So then his other question was regarding buying a box of cigars for the boys at work there. He, I think, wanted something that kind of had a little bit of law enforcement baked into it and everything. The one that came to mind for me, I don't know if you're familiar with it, there's the Los Caidos cigars. They make 2 cigars, one with a blue band, one with a red band, signifying police and fire. And I believe the purchase of those, they make donations to foundations that help with the families of fallen police and fire and everything like that. And so I would say maybe look into Los Caidos. I don't know. Do you have any other thoughts on that at all?
I know there's some other ones that are out there.
Yeah.
They're usually online guys. They'll do something. They'll have a star. We did one for the FOP up in Kansas City. It may have went national. It never did happen, but we were actually talking to the whole thing. And the one shop that had that brought in, it was through a cop that I met up in Kansas City. We used to hang out at this shop. And he donated pretty much net. So he donated everything he made.
Yeah.
It cost him X amount of dollars, and all the profit went to to that, but they're not around anymore.
Okay.
That one, but I know there's ones out there. It's just you got to be careful on that. Just because some guys will slap a sheriff star on there, and sometimes it could be a good cigar, sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
But getting a box of cigars for his buddies and stuff, because he mentioned some guys are novices.
Yes.
And some, what I let if you stay along the line, especially if they're not smokers, something, in my opinion, in a Dominican line.
Yeah.
It's a good stress reliever. One is like the curly head. I mean, you know what? If you're chewing on it because you're having a bad day, if you're smoking it, that can help. But if he wants to get a box, that's great. What I would do though is look at maybe a box for the novice guys, and for the guys who do smoke, step it up and get them something they like, or get them something you like and turn them on to that one.
Yeah.
Spend a couple of bucks on it. I mean, there's some great things we mentioned, like Chillin' Moose. There's some other lines out there that make a good cigar at that $5, that budget smoke.
Yep.
But it's whether they're going to enjoy it or not, whether they're going to smoke it.
Yeah, I mean, something that I get where you're going. Something that's good but isn't going to break the bank. I know that the Tatiscan Yellow Series from Aladino, they that won our Battle of the Budgets, and I'll tell you, it's a good cigar. It's not super oppressive to where a novice smoker would have issues with it,
right.
But at the same time, it's got a little bit of something that I think an experienced smoker would appreciate.
Yeah. Oh, so, definitely. Definitely. That's what you got to look for. You got to look for, because you're not going to please everybody's palate, so to speak. When you got the novices, it's a matter of getting something that's good. And there's a lot of cigars in that, we'll call it $5 range.
Yep. That
are rocking it out. Sometimes it's there's nothing wrong with a bundle cigar either.
No.
There's some good bundle sticks out there. It's just packaging. But, it's a matter of just finding something more mild, I think, for the novice guys. The other guys should like it, too. Again, it's going to become that camaraderie thing.
Yep.
You're a bunch of cops having a bad day. Couldn't fit a set of stairs in the trunk. You need to relieve stress somehow.
There you go. All right, well, here's our next call.
Hey, this is Noah calling, and I would like to thank you, Nick, for agreeing to give all the listeners an ESG by Ashton. That is very generous of you.
I didn't do that.
I do have a minor bone to pick with you. I enjoyed the White Lotus based on your recommendation. However, a heads up could have been warranted for warn me about a man eating another man's ass. That was a bit unexpected, which begs the question, what is My Monthly Cigars?
Oh, my God. So he's referencing the White Lotus on HBO. It's a 6-episode series and whatnot. And, yeah, it's we talked about that at one point, and it's an interesting show in that you feel like something's going to happen throughout the whole thing. And in my opinion, it kind of like fell flat in the last episode. It was like nothing really to it. So don't break your neck going to see it since you don't watch much TV.
I'm not going to spend that kind of money.
It's okay. So, but yeah, I did forget about that. That's true. I guess I didn't bring that up. It didn't really register to me as something to like warn people about. Like, hey, yeah, there's this dude eating another dude's ass. But what are you gonna do? So. And as for what My Monthly Cigars is, My Monthly Cigars is a premium cigar subscription service where you can get a box of cigars sent to your door every month. Jeff and I get the El Presidente, which is 8 cigars for $50. He also has the Robusto box, which is 4 cigars for $30. The El Presidente is 2 of everything that's in the Robusto box, so you can, if you have a buddy or something like that, you can sit and compare or as you're bringing up, maybe you need a couple of cigars to compare, and get a thought on that specific cigar. Now you got 2 of them to smoke and everything.
I like the 2 cigars though. You mentioned share with a buddy because that's always more fun.
Oh, I agree. The best cigar. I'll smoke by myself, but smoking with somebody I think is so much better.
Oh yeah.
So. But both of those boxes are covered by the MSRP guarantee, stating that the value of the cigars within the box is guaranteed to meet or exceed the price of the box. And if you use offer code PULPIT, PULPIT, gets you free shipping on your first box or 20% off any of the items in Nick's online store where he's got cigars and accessories and other fun stuff over there at mymonthlycigars.com. We always tend to, for some reason, bring up the MMC stuff after it didn't happen. It's not on purpose, although this one apparently was. But for some reason, his ad seems to always come up after we've talked about shit or something. I don't know how
it's an algorithm.
Happens. Well, it's. I don't want people to think that, like, they're correlated in any way, shape, or form.
It's just the luck of the draw, unfortunately.
Well, for Nick, yes, exactly. So, all right. Well, we'll go ahead and move on to the next question here.
Hey, fellas, it's Trent. This is my cigar account on Instagram. I was just calling, curious about the whole Top Shooters pulpit takeover. Nick, if we're doing a live episode that day, recording it at Top Shooters, streaming it, no editing, raw and uncut.
No.
Are you going to have enough mics for everybody, or should we be bringing our own? What's the plan on that? Because I've got a headset I could bring if I need to, but just curious. Let us all know. Thanks.
You listeners have taken this way too far. So the Riverman event on Saturday, September 25th.
Yes.
We've got a lot of listeners that are coming in from out of town and everything, and so I've spoken with the fine people at Top Shooters here, and basically on that Friday, the 24th, we're kind of just going to take over the outside here for a little while. Have a bunch of people out here eating, drinking, smoking cigars, just having a good time. Let everybody kind of meet and greet and have a nice time that Friday, because folks are coming in for the weekend, and everything, right?
Be a nice weekend in the St. Louis area.
I agree.
I'm leaving town, unfortunately, or I can show up. I'll be in Chicago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not really.
Okay.
It's okay. I'm enjoying the trip. My son just moved to Chicago from Colorado, so I'm getting to go see him.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
Nice.
So, anyway, I extend this offer. I bring this up to the parishioners that, we're going to be hanging out here and everything. And somehow this has turned into them thinking that I have offered to pick up the tab, which I have not. I have a number of them that believe that I am offering up my place for them to crash, which I have not. Some of them are talking about how I'm going to rent like a party bus and a party limo and everything to take them all over the place, which I have not. And now, apparently, Trent believes that we're going to be doing a live episode from here on that Friday.
Raw and uncut.
Which we are not. So, that is not in the cards. So, Trent, you can leave your headset at home, buddy.
There you go.
So, all right, we got one more call here, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up Ask the Boys.
What's up, guys? It's Rob. My question for this week is, in the new island of Nicotopia, out there in the middle of the lake, if you could only bring one food group with you, so pizza, Chinese, buffalo wings, along those lines, what would it be? This would be your only source of food while you're out there. Have a great day, and stay smoking.
Well, now, okay. Little backstory there. Throughout COVID, I've been telling everybody that my solution to this whole issue is that I need to just buy a private island and declare a sovereign nation for myself. And I have my little house, and I have a dock, and I can have a boat, and I'll, establish trade relations with the United States to where I can get like a shipment of stuff coming to me every week. And, if a hurricane comes, I can bail out and go, get safety and then come back and see what's left and everything, But I figure that's the best solution to a lot of problems. Not just COVID, but a lot of problems.
Oh, me and my friends have talked about having your own island.
See, now, okay, the Epstein Island was for sale. But my whole contention there, I don't want to be the first one to buy it.
Yeah,
it's kind of like the murder house.
Uh-huh.
It's got that taint to it. And you just don't want to buy it right. You got to let at least a couple people buy it and sell it beforehand so that eventually you're buying Joe Smith's island. You're not buying the Epstein Island.
Right. You definitely don't want to be that guy to buy the first buyer.
You don't want
not at all.
Because then it's like, Snappy bought the pedo island.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't want that. But anyway, so he's asking what food group, if I could only have one food group on my island, what that would be. And I don't know. Do you have thoughts? If you were in this situation and you only had one food group available to you, what would it be?
Vietnamese.
Well, okay.
There you go. How's that for commitment?
I was going to say that was very decisive and very quick, and also a little off the beaten path.
Yeah. Vietnamese.
Big fan of father.
Well, here's the backstory on that.
Okay.
So my wonderful son, Jonathan, I was giving name mentions. I don't know.
Okay.
He has a. It's his lady. And her name's Kim Do. She's Vietnamese. They met a couple of years ago. Had a long distance relationship. She was in Chicago. They met in Minneapolis at a wedding.
Okay.
Not too much of a backstory. I'm not going to tell you who got married. But, and we've always liked Asian cooking.
Yeah.
But the Vietnamese cooking. And she came from, her parents left during the Saigon time and everything. So they were transplants like a lot of folks coming over now. Refugees. She grew up in Minneapolis, so very much a Vietnamese family. The cooking is freaking awesome.
Really?
Oh, my God. And she taught me how to finally make spring rolls.
Okay.
So any of the stuff, there's a couple, they're actually Korean on YouTube, Aaron and Claire. It's just a fun show.
Yeah.
So we'll watch a lot of stuff, make a lot of the stuff like that. So we don't need a lot of, we eat, trust me, I eat pizza, I eat plenty of red meat or whatever, but not what people think. So we do a lot of vegetarian style cooking, but it's more Asian style.
Okay.
So sometimes we may add a little meat. So yeah, there's so much you can do with that. Oh yeah, I could do that. I could live with that.
Okay. All right. I tend to default to a lot of Mexican and Italian. I probably would man, if I got to pick between those two, that's hard. But realistically, at least Mexican, I think I can change it up enough. There's different ingredients and things that I could do. With Italian, I mean, let's be real. You've got your pastas, you got, Italian sauces and whatever else. I mean, but I'd probably have to default to Mexican, put on the spot right now. But man, it'd be difficult.
Well, there's only really.
I mean, I like Thai food a lot.
Yeah.
I mean,
Thai food's really good too.
And there's some days that, by God, nothing more than just a great steak and a baked potato just is like all you want, So,
but yeah,
it'd be difficult.
There's only like 5 ingredients in Mexican food. You just change the order.
True.
What's in the taco?
It's like you go
meat, cheese, lettuce.
You go to Taco Bell,
tomato.
It's the same thing.
What's in the burrito? Cheese, meat. You just move one ingredient down. That's the whole Mexican menu.
I like fajitas a lot. I do a lot with fajitas.
I'm not a big fan of fajitas.
Really?
Yeah, it reminds me of Mongolian barbecue. It's just too... The meat's too steamy.
Okay.
Wet in there. Does that make sense? Without sounding wrong. But it's just, nothing wrong with a wet piece of meat once in a while.
When you get really good fajitas, though, and they got to cook them down, they got to almost caramelize with the onions and the peppers and everything, then it's good. But I know exactly what you're talking about. When they do them and they just don't do them long enough.
Right, and they come out. It's not juice, it's steam dripping. Yeah,
and your vegetables are still borderline, kind of, they have that snap to them and everything. It's like, just not quite done yet. But man, when you get them and they're really cooked down right and caramelized up and everything, those are good fajitas. But even places where I've found those type of fajitas, it's hit and miss. Sometimes you go and whoever's cooking that day, maybe just not quite right, Yep. So, I don't know. But yeah, I'd probably have to default to that. So, well, anyway, guys, this has been this week's Ask the Boys. And so we need your questions. So make sure you call the Ask the Boys hotline at area code 863-874-0000. All right, well, we are going to now get a update from Gator on the road. And Gator has been traveling out to Colorado, but he took a swing through Kansas City this weekend to visit Diebel's Sportsman's Gallery and visit the Kansas City Cigar Festival. So I did a little pre-recorded segment with him, and we'll go ahead and listen to that now. So we've got Jeff on the line. He's traveling the heartland of America. So parts unknown. So Jeff, where in the hell are you?
I'm wrestling under the assumed name of El Diablo.
See,
I like coming off the top rope, if you know what I mean.
Rusty Shackelford is one of my favorites, but unfortunately, King of the Hill popularized it, so I can't use it now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, dude. Okay, so I'm in Denver,
Okay.
And I stayed last night in Kansas City. Actually, in where did I stay? I stayed somewhere outside Kansas City.
I have to say that, first of all, before we go any further in this, I'm impressed that you're in Denver, Colorado currently on the phone with me talking, and you're like coherent. You're not like babbling incoherently and pissing yourself high as a kite on whatever ganja they have out there.
Stone cold sober, buddy.
It's a family function, so you're trying to be good, aren't you?
Well, I drove past a dispensary, but it wasn't accessible. And then I went out. My aunts are here; they're staying in the same hotel with me, and
so
we
you
all
can't
went out.
Get too wasted.
We grabbed something to eat, and I was gonna go get, something after we ate. And it was at that point that I realized my aunt needed help carrying one of her suitcases. I came back to the hotel, and by the time we got to the 10th floor, because I'm not going to lie to you, brother, I can't breathe out here.
Well, yeah, there's less oxygen.
We were all about to pass out just walking from the parking garage to get on the elevator and then circle around to our room when we got to the 10th floor.
Shit, Jeff, that happens to you in Indianapolis.
Not like this. Okay, in Indy, my knee hurts, my back hurts, whatever. No, here, I can't get enough oxygen in my lungs.
That's awesome.
It is, everybody said to watch out for that. And I just thought, oh, come on. No, it's a thing.
No, it's a true and honest thing.
Yeah, it's a real thing. So I did bring my Primatene Mist inhaler, so I may have to start taking some hits off of that.
You're going to be that little kid at the wedding, and you're just going to be like, pardon me, folks, I got to get the hit off my inhaler.
Take it a couple of times.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know exactly how that's going to go down.
I know exactly how that's going to go down. You'll have to keep it in your pocket protector with your pens.
Thanks.
There you go.
Oh, I'll paint some freckles on my face while I'm at it.
Put a little tape in the middle of your glasses. You'll be set. There you go.
I'll be set. Oh, Lordy. So, needless to say, I was not able to get pot tonight. It's like 10 o'clock when we're recording this, and I'm just, I'm exhausted. My aunt, God love her, who's not in bad shape. She's older than I am, but not in bad shape. Had to stop twice walking. Could not breathe.
To which you're like, hey, cool, 2 breaks.
Exactly. I didn't point out that I was happy about it, but I took advantage.
Okay. All right, then.
So, needless to say.
So let's review and recap how you got there then. So, you left Illinois.
I left Illinois and drove to Kansas City, and I was out with friends on Friday night, some of my really close friends from high school, and we were hanging out in Ava, Illinois around a campfire. And about 9 o'clock, I said, hey, guys, I got to go. And I left at 1:30.
Oh, God.
So I get home, and I get like a few hours sleep. My alarm goes off at 7:30 when I'm supposed to leave to get out to Kansas City to enjoy the Kansas City Cigar Festival.
At Diebel's.
Well, at Diebel's. Needless to say, I said, fuck you to the alarm.
Oh, no.
And went back to sleep. I luckily reset another alarm for like 8:45, and I finally drug my happy ass out of bed then. Just ran a comb through my hair, brushed my teeth, crawled into the FJ Cruiser, and headed out. So I got to Diebel's about 1 o'clock or a little after. So I wasn't really, I didn't do too bad driving out there. It's about a 4-hour drive from where I'm at in St. Louis.
Yeah.
And then I proceeded to take the next half hour trying to find a parking space in the Country Club Plaza in Kansas City.
In your bright yellow FJ, branded up with a radio station. That's awesome.
U-turns and everything else. And so, okay, now I've got to circle back on something.
Okay.
Because, full disclosure, I was in my driving attire, not in my Sunday go to Diebel's attire.
You were in shorts, probably.
Gym shorts and a t-shirt.
I was going to say no shirt with a schmog tied around your head, but okay.
The schmog was in the backpack. I have it here.
Of course you do.
So I decide I have to change. Well, stupid me. I don't think I should change 10 minutes out of Kansas City. I realize it when I'm downtown by the plaza.
Where there's no parking.
There's nowhere to hide. So I finally pull over in like a really kind of a not parking area along the road running to Diebel's. I circled past it and came back. So I park, and then I'm thinking, well, people in these apartment buildings can see me. I can't change my clothes in front of them. So I ended up hanging up like a beach towel in the window to hide me. So I strip off my shorts and strip off my shirt, and I'm fighting like hell to get my shorts on without like grinding them into the floor and getting them all dirty.
Uh-huh.
And then I look up, and there's this just random son of a bitch walking right at my car.
Oh, no.
And I'm sitting there in my boxer shorts, and he's just he's walking in the traffic lane, just walking like he's going to walk over and say hi. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I hurry up and I get my clothes on, and I just put the blinker on and put it in drive and get ready to pull out, and then he steps away. I don't know if he was coming to like roll me for cash or was going to carjack me. I have no idea what was going on.
Or was going to tell you, hey, sir, you can't park that here.
Sir, you can't change your clothes in the middle of Kansas City.
Exactly.
Apparently the decency police were coming over to talk to me. So,
well, Diebel's is in a fairly nice little area there, so.
It is.
Yeah, they
exactly
probably were
why they don't want vagrants
frowning upon homeless-looking people changing clothes. Yeah.
In a bright yellow
yellow. Yeah, nothing like an inconspicuous vehicle for you to do that in, by the way.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So, it's a hide in plain sight kind of vehicle until you want to hide. Then it doesn't work. Yeah. So I finally find a parking space, and I make my way up to Diebel's. It's on the parking garage. You've been there before, so you know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
They actually have this on the second floor above Diebel's, like a block down, and it's up in the parking garage. They put tents up. It's a really cool deal that they do.
Yeah, a little rooftop party.
I get up there and just proceed. I mean, granted, I only get an hour at this point, but I had a blast.
Awesome.
And, got a chance to talk to Kurt Diebel. And if you want to, do you want to go ahead and play that, and then we'll circle back before we do some of the other interviews?
I was going to say, you sent me some audio, so we'll go ahead and play the interview with Kurt Diebel now.
And, okay, we're currently here recording with Kurt Diebel of Diebel Sportsman's Gallery at the Kansas City Cigar Festival. And Kurt, I know we're wrapping up the event here. Kind of give us an idea of, how the event's gone and what you think of the turnout.
Oh, man, we've been blown away with the turnout. I think there was a bit of a pent-up demand, certainly with the COVID year that we took off last year. We sold out VIP in 10 days. We sold out the event for the first time about a week and a half before, so it's been great. Everybody's had a blast.
That's awesome. And kind of go down the list here, if you can, real quick, of just some of the vendors that you had. I know you just did a bunch of giveaways for the raffles, so who all did you have here today?
So I think we had 17 different cigar vendors. We lost 2 of them because of COVID with Fuente Newman and Drew Estates. But we had Rocky, we had Perdomo, we had Davidoff, we had General, we had Forged, CLE, Ashton, EPC, Alec Bradley. There's about 4 more.
Yep. Well, and I'm going to go around and get some audio. But, I mean, it is just a tremendous event. And I'll tell you, one of the best things about your event, besides the cigars, is the food. Kind of hit on that a little bit. Like, how do you get the vendors in and pick the different choices?
Right. So we offered fried chicken from Gus's World Famous Fried Chicken, which is about a 10-minute drive from us. So they do a great job. We offered a Mexican street tacos from Tio Cali, which is another one up on Hospital Hill. That's, they do a great job. And then our third one for a meat. We belong to a country club here, and they do such a great job day in and day out with their meat. So we had, last night we had for the VIP dinner, we had some burnt ends and some brisket and some pulled pork. And today we had hamburgers, brats, hot dogs, chicken. And they do a great job.
That's awesome. So do you have a date picked for next year's festival?
Every year, we're the Saturday after Labor Day.
Perfect. Well, Kurt, we really do appreciate your time. I know I had to pull you away from some of the housekeeping items you're doing right now at the end of the show, but thanks again for coming on with the Cigar Pulpit.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Okay, so, dude, I can't tell you how busy this guy was. It was right at the end of the event. They had just given away, the last of their Big Brother, Big Sister raffles.
Yeah.
Had some other raffles from some of the vendors. And I cannot thank Kurt enough for taking a couple of minutes to, sit and talk with me.
That's awesome.
Yep. And I'll tell you what, they were really, I call up and I need a ticket, and MasterCard won't work on their website, which is a weird thing, by the way. I want to point that out.
Yeah.
They explained to me, MasterCard, you cannot use a MasterCard for online tobacco purchases. I've never heard this before, but whatever. I guess if you're going to use it, like the company has to pay tens of thousands of dollars to be able to use it, and it's just a mess. So it's because MasterCard does not want to do online purchases for tobacco because if some kid gets a cigarette, they're going to get sued or whatever. So they're really restrictive about that. So I couldn't even buy the ticket for this event with a MasterCard online.
Interesting.
So they were kind enough to let me come to the event and pay. I think I'm the only one, to my knowledge, that they let do this. But they wanted, the pulpit to be there. So good on Kurt and Sam and all the guys there at Diebel's for hooking us up and taking care of us.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, I had some great food, and I know Kurt mentioned a couple of the vendors and things they had there. And then I went around and got to spend some time with some of the folks from the different, reps and manufacturers and things that were there. So if you want to, do you want to go ahead and play the audio for those now?
Yeah, I'll play the audio from
there's about 7 or 8 of them. So guys, hang with us because they all had some nice things to say about the event, and they also talk about like what's new with their particular line. So it's kind of informative.
Okay, well, we'll listen to those now.
And now we have Jerry Gribb from EP Carrillo. And Jerry, tell us about the show today.
It was a home run as usual. Kurt always knocks it out of the park here. Maybe the coolest shop, might be the coolest shop in America, what he does here. Had 2 number 1 cigars and a number 2 in the last few years, so obviously business was booming. The Pledge Prequel, which is this year's number 1, got 98 points, highest rated cigar aficionado of all time. They were just flying off the shelves. It was a great day.
That's awesome. You guys have great cigars, man.
We've been on Ernesto's been on a roll. The guy's a Hall of Fame member and a legend, and it's great to see he's finally have the success he's well deserved.
Good deal. Well, hey, we thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
Hey, so now I'm here talking with Zane from Ashton Cigars. And Zane, kind of tell us about what you've had here at your booth today and what you're promoting.
Yeah, so this was my first time doing the Kansas City Cigar Festival, and we had kind of some of our main core lines. We had the Ashton Classic, the Ashton VSG. We did some San Cristobal Elegancia and the baseline La Aroma. It was a great turnout, and we had quite a few people that were responsive to the sample packs. I thought it was an all-around success.
That's awesome. Well, hey, we really do appreciate your time. I know we're wrapping up here. And so what are your thoughts with it being the first show? Like, how was the turnout for you?
It was honestly, it blew me away. I heard about over 500 attendees showed up, and everyone here is really friendly, engaging, open, and I will look forward to 2022.
That's awesome. You got to really love the brothers and sisters of the Leaf, don't you?
I love it.
Absolutely. Well, hey, thanks again.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're here speaking with Tyler from CLE Cigars. So, Tyler, tell us about the show and what you've been promoting today.
Hey, thanks for having me on. So, last year, unfortunately, due to circumstances outside of all of our control, we couldn't really do this event, the Kansas City Cigar Festival, but this year it came back with force, and we're promoting a variety of new products. So most importantly, last week and the week before last, we started shipping the Aroa PCA exclusive, which is an exclusive cigar to those people who attended the PCA trade show in July of this year. And then we also were promoting the CLE Signature. CLE Signature came in a variety of different lives before we kind of reinvented it. This one that we're producing now, it's actually a Cameroon wrapper that we grow in Hamastran, just like with the Aroa PCA. It's different because those seeds, those Cameroon seeds, as you know, Cameroon's grown in Africa, but we grow it in Hamastran, and the soil, the environment and the soil is everything. So it produces a thicker leaf. That's how we're able to box press the PCA exclusive, for example. And, the reception's been awesome. A lot of people were eager to try it today at the event, and the reception, everybody loved it. And of course, we have things like, things that have been around for a while, like the Eidoa Classic, which is the all Corojo, the CBT, which is all Maduro, and of course, without saying, Asylum 13, of course, everybody, that's the first thing to swoop for. So no, it's very good. The people here are serious. They're here to buy, and listen, Kurt Diebel's a great partner in the area, and we're here to support him.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. So now I've got Jonathan with Davidoff Cigars. And Jonathan, tell us all about the show and what you guys are promoting today.
Yeah, with Davidoff, we're promoting the new Avo Caribe line. Brand new line we just launched about a month or so ago. Brand new line for Avo. It's the fourth in the series of the Synchro line. Features a Dominican wrapper. Binder is from Ecuador, and the filler is Nicaraguan and Dominican. So we are happy to be back at the Diebel's Kansas City Cigar Fest for 2021. Unfortunately, we had to miss it last year, which everybody else had to as well. But we're pleased to be back and to see a sellout crowd for Diebel's Sportsman's Gallery, and we look forward to 2022.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for your time. So now we have Dave with Rocky Patel. So, Dave, tell us about your thoughts on the show and what you've been promoting today.
Wow, what a great show. I've been coming here for 6 years, over 500 people. Everybody's excited. We're back in business. Everybody's enjoying cigars. We'll be here every year going forward. Just came back from a show in the Rocky Mountain Cigar Fest, 2,000 cigar smokers. We're alive and living and having our freedom, so... If you have never been here, you need to come next year. Get your tickets from Diebel's. You'll have a great time. We had a variety of our products here. The most popular cigar was our Decade cigar this year. Sold over 20 boxes. We are offering free cigars with purchase, top of lighters, gift packs, travel humidors, you name it. So if you're not here, you need to be here next year. You're missing a blast.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. So now we're lucky enough to be joined by Joe Voss of Oliva Cigars. So, Joe, tell us all about the show and what you're promoting today.
Well, the Kansas City Cigar Festival is always a great event. We had an event-only sampler that we sold. They sold out in 30 minutes. It was fantastic. And, of course, we always love to feature our Series V Milano, and everybody's favorite, Series G. So it was a great day. We sold a ton of cigars, and I'm always happy to be here at Diebel's on the Plaza.
That's awesome. Hey, man, it was great to see you again.
Always good to see you. Safe travels. We'll see you again soon.
See you then.
All right.
And we're joined now by John with Forged Cigars. John, let us know your thoughts on the show here at Kansas City.
This was awesome. My first time doing this event with Diebel's in Kansas City here, and the turnout was spectacular. People were great. It was just a ton of fun. Couldn't ask for a better day.
That's awesome. Where are you guys out of?
We're based out of Richmond, Virginia. I'm out of Wisconsin, and we carry Forge carries 7 different brands. We do Partagas, La Gloria Cubana, Boulevard, Diesel, Chillin' Moose, El Rey del Mundo, and El Rico Habano.
That's awesome. Love those cigars. So thank you so much for your time.
It's been a pleasure, man. See you next year.
Take care.
Well, very cool. It sounds like you had a good time.
It was a lot of fun, and I've got to give a special shout-out right now to our buddies, one of the pulpit parishioners, Jay and his son Joel Stanley.
Oh, from the parishioners group.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, it really helped me out a lot, because I'm standing there kind of talking to Kurt, waiting on him to get some stuff done to do the interview, and in front of Kurt, they walked up to me, and they're like, "Are you Gator?"
No, they didn't.
Kurt kind of looked up, made a little face, and then went on doing his stuff. And, they recognized me at the event. So, I had some fans there, and it really made my day that somebody recognized me, besides the reps, because we've met and talked to them in the past. So
yeah.
Obviously, they're going to, know us, or it's going to click when I say who I am.
Yeah.
But no, these guys came up out of the crowd and introduced themselves to me as fans. And just could not have been nicer.
That's
Said
awesome.
They're planning to come to the Riverman event to see us there, so I can't wait.
Very cool. That's awesome. Did you get a picture with them?
It was really neat. I do have a picture with them. I do.
Oh, look at you.
Yes. I have not posted any of those yet. And to be honest, the event fell on 9/11.
Yes.
And, it's always, they have it. It's always the Saturday, like Kurt said earlier. It's always the Saturday after Labor Day.
Okay.
So it's always the same, time every year.
It just kind of happened.
It fell on the 20th anniversary of 9/11. And out of respect, I didn't put any pictures up of, the party and things. And, I'd been listening to the radio all morning, driving in. I listened to George W.'s speech. And by the way, if you guys haven't had a chance to listen to our former president's speech from Shanksville, Pennsylvania, you need to go search that out on YouTube or whatever Googles you want to look it up on. He gave the most incredible 20th anniversary speech for 9/11. And I was really, and I've had my issues with George W., over some things and whatnot, but he could not have given a better speech to mark that occasion.
Awesome.
So I held off posting, pictures just, kind of, out of respect for the day. But I do have them, and I do plan to put them up on the parishioners page. I may wait until, the Monday before this or the day that this comes out and put those up so folks can see it. But it was an outstanding event. And guys, if you're not going to this, you're just missing out.
Yeah, no, I would have liked to have gone to it this year. It just logistically it didn't work out. But well, people there said, if one of us could be there, they were glad it was me. You son of a bitch.
I got that 3 times actually.
You did not. Oh,
it's gotta be one of you. I'm glad it's Gator.
Anyway, well, all right.
But it was a blast. And now let me say this, and then I'll let you go because I'm planning to go to a cigar shop. We just got in really late here tonight in Denver.
Yeah,
and I didn't get a chance because all the cigar lounges that I found, for the most part, all closed at 7 or 8, and we didn't roll into like 7:30, 8 o'clock. And then we tried to grab something for dinner, and the next thing you know, it's 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
and so I plan to go hit a lounge here, and then I plan to hit a lounge in Breckenridge. I've heard there's a really nice cigar lounge out there as well. And but that being said, I got to talk for a minute about my drive. So I'm in Kansas City. I go to the Cigar Fest.
Yeah.
And then I try to book a room in Kansas City. And between you, me, and the walls, I don't know why I'm an IHG Rewards member with Holiday Inn, because it never works. I get spanked by them all the time. And if you work for Holiday Inn, tell the bosses that I'm going off about this, because it's just ridiculous. So I try to get a hotel room in Kansas City. Well, the ones downtown are booked. I get that. I get it if you're out of rooms. I find one in Orland Park. Okay.
Okay.
And it's going to be like $1 gazillion. And I'm like, no, I'll drive on down the road. I'll sleep in the back of the FJ before I pay that. You know me.
Yeah, I know you.
Because I'm cheap.
You'll find a cornfield to shit in, and you'll sleep in the back of the FJ.
Exactly.
Nope, totally get it.
So I decided to move on to Topeka, Kansas.
Okay.
And I stayed the night in Topeka. And I ended up going to, I think it was a Hampton Inn, and got a decent rate on it. It wasn't cheap, but it was, you know me, I'm weird about hotel rooms. And I can't do the Fleabag Motel. I just cannot do it.
I get it.
I don't want bed bugs and all that. So whatever. I'm just, me, I'm nuts. I won't, and you also know I won't walk on the floor barefooted.
I mean, dude, I don't like bad or old or dirty hotels. And so, I'm getting what I consider to be very nice, clean rooms, and you're weird about even those.
Yes. So
no, I know.
Yeah, I'm really weird about hotel rooms.
Yeah,
and,
I know.
I want to bring in one of those, is it black light or ultraviolet light?
Oh, you do not want to bring in one of those.
I want to see if the room glows, kind of thing.
You don't want to really do
like
that.
On The Office.
Yeah, you don't really want to do that.
No. So that I don't want to know what filth I'm laying in.
Yeah.
So that being said, I get the room there and it's really nice. But I get up and I go down and I have breakfast and I come back up to the room and take a shower and get ready. And the next thing I know, it's getting close to 11:30. And I head out of the hotel and I get on the road to drive on 70. And I'm excited because I'm getting a little earlier start than I thought. I wasn't planning to leave till noon. And I head down the road. And at this point, that drive turns into that nightmare, that you have where you're running down a hallway and the hallway just keeps extending away from you. Have you ever had that?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And you're describing Kansas.
Yes. Kansas is the longest, most boring thing I've ever been in. It was, at one point, my aunt calls, and they're behind me. They were following me out, and they were about a half hour behind me. And they said, "Where are you?" And I said, "I'm in BFE, Kansas." And my aunt says, "BFE? I don't see that along the interstate."
Oh no!
And I said, "Donna, it's bum F Egypt." Oh, she's very prim and proper Methodist.
Yeah, and there you are dropping the BFE. Yeah,
exactly. So she goes, "Well, what do you see?" And I said, "I've seen the same bleeping cornfield for the last 2 hours." And she said, "We haven't seen corn yet." I said, "Oh, trust me, you're going to.
You're going to."
And this cornfield had to be like 35, 40 miles long. It was the longest cornfield I've ever seen in my life. And it just went on forever. And then, oh, hey, now there's sorghum. Oh, wait, now we're back to corn. There was nothing else anywhere. The occasional longhorn steer that had wandered off of its, farm wherever it was, and that was it. That was the only cool thing to look at, was like 2 longhorn steers in a 7.5-hour drive.
So what you're saying, though, is you had plenty of restroom opportunities.
Oh, dude. Okay, so I had to explain to my aunt, because we went through this really big storm coming across the Colorado border.
Okay.
And they're calling me and they're like, "Hey, are you getting any hail? Should we pull over?" And I'm like, "No, I'm making it. There's a big dust storm in front of me." It was something out of the Dust Bowl. Like, it was dust as far as you could see. It was like a brownout. It was bizarre. But it was on the leading edge of this giant front.
God does not want you to travel.
No. And then I finally hit some rain, and the minute it started raining, the dust was gone because it just sucked it out of the air.
Yeah.
Well, I get through this, and I get pounded on by rain for about a minute and a half, and that's it. There's a big storm to the north of me. I mean, a giant, just going to destroy a state storm. And then to the south, there's a smaller, maybe take out a couple of counties kind of storm. But I threaded the needle on 70 and drove in between the two of them.
Okay.
I get past them, and I even make a comment to my aunt on the phone. I said, just keep going, because if that storm to the north of you shits down, you're going to get caught in, so you're better off to just drive through it. So I get through, and I even told my aunt, I said, "There's probably a rainbow here somewhere, because it's still raining, but the skies are blue." So I pull over to pee on an on-ramp, and you know me, the FJ, I have the suicide door, so I can open 2 doors and make my own little urinal there. And so I do that. Well, while I'm standing there with my junk out, just whizzing away, I look up and notice the rainbow, so I'm taking pictures of the rainbow while I'm peeing.
Oh, dear God.
And then I sent the rainbow pictures to my aunt.
You sent the rainbow pictures to your aunt?
I can send you the rainbow picture. You can make it like our picture for this episode.
That you took while you were peeing on an on-ramp?
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
Technically, it was an off-ramp. I was on the off-ramp and then just pulled right back onto the on-ramp and kept going on the interstate.
Okay.
It was a pit stop.
Okay.
In my defense, there was nothing around. I mean, cars were driving by, but there was nowhere to really go.
Yeah.
And when you got to go, you got to go.
It's only awkward because you're like that third grader that drops his pants down to his ankles to pee.
How do you know I do that?
Because you peed in the road when driving with me before.
Oh, that was the funniest thing. We didn't know each other that well, and I'm pissing on the road, and you're like,
I'm like,
hear you pissing.
I'm like, I can hear that. Yeah. Yeah, that was awkward.
That made my day.
Anyway.
Yeah, we weren't that good of friends then.
It was very early in this relationship.
Very early in the friendship. I'd rather you call it a friendship than a relationship. I think that sends the wrong message. So, needless to say, by the next episode, I'm going to be able to talk. And if I'm not mistaken, can I say who you've got on with you?
For Friday?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, feel free.
Our man, Broccoli Rob, is going to be filling in for me.
Broccoli Rob.
And I'm all
slide
excited.
Slide into the second chair.
There you go.
Yep.
So, I made it nice and warm for him the last time I was in it.
Ew. you. There's been a few other people that have slid into that chair while you've been gone, too. So,
Oh, poor Pinky.
I was going to say, Pinky took the brunt of it.
Yeah, that's true. Do you remember what I did to your brown chair at your office?
Yes.
We've talked about that on here, haven't we?
Yes. You nuked the hell out of that thing.
I left a bomb in that cushion.
Yeah, like days later, somebody flopped into that. I would say,
it was Sam, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Sam. Like days later, my sports writer flopped into that chair, and that funk just escaped out of it and permeated the room again.
Oh, that made me so happy.
And it's like, dude, that's like 3 days old worth of ass funk that just came out of that chair. That was gross. Anyway.
Oh, I'm so proud of that.
Oh, God. It's all right.
That worked out better than I ever could have imagined.
Yeah. Well, fun.
Well,
so yeah.
I'll have stuff to talk about in Denver. Don't stay at Holiday Inn because it sucks because we had a horrible time checking into this one, but more on that in the next show.
All right, then. Well, try and not get arrested in Colorado there. And
I'll give it a go.
I would say, I mean, let's be real. They let a lot go there. So, I mean, if you're getting arrested, then you've really caused problems.
The last thing I'm going to say before I let you go is I could tell that I'd re-entered a blue state. You want to guess how?
How?
When I crossed the Colorado border. I'm in Illinois.
The states, let me guess, the roads are shit.
Actually, the interstate was crappy when you get into Colorado, but the gas price jumped 60 cents.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. Missouri was cheap. Kansas is cheap. Illinois is high. Colorado's high. What's the common denominator there?
Yeah, I know it. Well, you know, all those Subarus in Colorado there, man, they have good gas mileage, though.
They do love their taxes, I'll tell you that.
And they love their Subarus, you know? It's like I bet if we were to somehow put together a map where we showed like little like the concentration of Subarus in the country, I bet the blue dot in Colorado would glow the brightest. It's like
it'd be like F-150s in Southern Illinois.
Yeah, it's like that country or that state just like, or that company just like exists purely to serve the people of Colorado.
That's like, actually because I passed somebody with a Colorado plate in a Subaru today.
Dude, count them, okay? Do me a favor. While you're out there, count the Subarus.
I'll start taking pictures of them and sending them to you.
I'm telling you, they're everywhere. You're going to see more Outbacks than you know what to do with.
Yep. That's funny. Yep. I will start a Subaru count now and report back on the next show.
Okay. I mean, you've been in Colorado for a little while, so the count's going to be skewed a little bit. We probably need to add about 50 to the total, but
if not more.
If not more. But yeah.
I remember for sure passing one because I had a cute girl driving it.
Well, you know, I mean, probably with one of those like Coexist or Unity bumper stickers on it too.
Oh yeah, I mean that's you couldn't sweep a dead cat out of here without hitting some of those.
Awesome. Well, buddy, stay safe on the road, and we will touch base with you in the next episode with Broccoli Rob.
Good stuff. Well, you take care.
Talk to you, man.
See you, buddy. Bye.
Well, it sounds like he had a fun time out there in Kansas City.
It's always a good time in Kansas City. That's a great town.
It is.
Some great cigar shops out there in Kansas City in the outlying areas.
Yeah.
Blue Springs has got a great shop out there.
Yep.
One in Lee Summit. Overland Park, if you get over that way. Cigar and Tobacco, great people. You should always go by and see them. But yeah, I used to do that back in the day. I used to do this. It's always a good turnout. Great group of guys that you'll find.
Our buddy Corey Frisbee has the Weston tobacco shop.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. Have you ever been to his shop?
I have, actually.
Dude,
I went
is
out
that
to
not the coolest thing in the bottom of the tobacco barn like that?
And he's bought the building. I don't know if you know that now. He now owns the building. And he's having his cigar festival. It's the third weekend of October. So he'll have his little event and everything going on out there.
Yeah, that was always a good time. I used to do those out there, too. He does it right. You know what? He makes that going back to events.
Yep.
That's an event. He does it right the way he does the discounting and everything.
Yep.
You can buy from different vendors and increase that. So he plays it fair all the way around with everybody. But yeah, that's always a really good time.
Yeah.
It's only an hour outside of Kansas City, 40 minutes.
Maybe 45 minutes north of Kansas City.
But I stay at the old hotel because
Yeah.
because I could walk up the hill, and it's a bit of a walk.
It is a bit of a walk.
Yeah, especially if you've been with Corey and had a few drinks.
Yeah, you're stumbling around.
Yeah. And
he breaks out that Corey's Revenge that, let's be real, it's not whiskey. It's straight up moonshine.
It is moonshine. But no, his festival is a full. That's what events should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is one you need to attend.
Well, I agree. I think we plan on heading out there in October.
You're going to rent a party bus?
No, I'm not going to rent a party bus.
You're going to do a live show from there?
I might do a show
unedited?
I don't know. You get Corey on the air sometimes, man. You need that edit button.
Yeah, you do need the edit
button. We actually, the last time we had Corey on the show, we interviewed him. He's been growing tobacco.
Mm-hmm.
He grew some tobacco, and we were talking to him all about that process and everything. And well, let's just put it this way: the listeners heard 30 minutes out of a 50-minute interview.
Oh, yeah, well, that's cool.
Yeah, he decided that he was going to touch on a subject that we're not touching on just yet. It's a little early.
We'll drop the tease. So next time you see Corey, ask Corey about the picture that he gifted me.
Okay. I will do that.
He'll tell you. It's a great. I don't want to take that story away from him, but it was. I still have the picture framed.
Really?
Oh yeah, I still have it. I don't know why. I think I have a table leg that's short on one end. I use it for a lift. No, but I'll just throw that out there. So next time you see Corey, ask him about the picture. I gave him a picture. He was so gracious as to give me a wonderful, wonderful photo shoot that he did. So, yeah.
Oh my. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Knowing Corey, this could go really wretched. So I'll have to ask about this. So seems like, and I don't know. Corey's mentioned this before, but you having done the whole rep thing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
The reps have good relationships with one another by and large. I mean, obviously, there's going to be some.
There's always somebody. Yeah, you don't get. When I would do, especially when you were out in the heartlands, you would cross over. It's funny to watch reps from different areas, how they not react, but how they are to a point. So when the Texas boys would come up, say we were at the Kansas City Fest, and the Texas boys were coming up, and then you had the Midwest boys in there, the Heartland boys.
Yeah.
You could see a little bit of a difference. Texas does a little bigger all the time, even when they're outside the state.
Okay.
But no, most of everybody, all reps are always supportive. When I started in Chicago, one of the things we did was it was all new reps. There was Merle, she was with Miami Cigar. Perez was with Acid. Gary was with Gurkha. I can't think of who else was around. There were some old reps. Matt, who's still with General. But the new reps, we would all get together like once a month and have lunch. And we kind of helped each other out, too. So it was, we would go in to obviously show our product, but we'd be like, well, how come you're not carrying this?
Yeah.
And we've been in. And it would be the, you should really take a look at this product. It does well at this store, does well at this store. So, yeah, most reps get along. Once in a while, there's a couple of reps. Just stay 15 feet from each other. And they're fine. But no, we all go through the same thing.
Okay.
Living out of a suitcase in a hotel, man, it's not a glamorous life all the time. Looks like it, but not when you're away from family or just your own house and stuff like that. So, no, I think all the reps are pretty – I've seen plenty of times you've hung out. 3-4 reps will be in the shop just hanging out, having a good time. We're all in the same game. It's the cigar industry is really just a small family.
Yeah.
That's all it is. You got that one cousin you don't like and you don't want to see, but the rest of them you miss when they're not around. It's always fun.
Very cool. Well, I guess this is the point in the show when I tell you how you can follow us on social media. We're on Instagram at The Cigar Pulpit, as well as at Naked Gator, NEKKID Gator. Where can people follow you?
They can follow me on Instagram. It's Snappy Bigman.
Okay.
And then they can find... it's weird because I don't know all this stuff. I'm learning all the hookups and everything. So on Spotify, you can look up Just Saying, put the ellipsis in there. Because there's we're talking about changing the name because there's like 42.
3 dots at the end for those of you who don't know.
3 dots at the end, yes. There's like 4,200 Just Saying podcasts.
Okay.
So we may just go with Everyday Conversations. But if you go to YouTube, just punch in Snappy Bigman.
Okay.
And that channel will come up.
Perfect.
And then we'll do the gratuitous, please like, And please subscribe.
And share with friends.
Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
Then we are also on Facebook, where we have the Cigar Pulpit Parishioners group. And guys, you're going to want to get in on that, because everybody apparently likes to take shots and figure out ways that they can make me spend money in that group. And then we're also on Twitter, YouTube, and guys, again, we need your calls for the Ask the Boys segment. Area code 863-874-0000.
Oh, can I get in one more shameless plug?
Sure, why not?
They can also visit the website, which is really shitty right now, but we're getting it changed around. We're going to make some changes to it, obviously. But they can go to snappybigman.com.
Okay.
I'm starting a trend. I'm dropping the www. Everything's www.
I know.
So snappybigman.com, they can find our coffees. At least 4 of them right now. But take a visit. Just look around. You don't have to buy anything. You can kick a tire. We're good with that. We just like to see people visit once in a while.
Well, guys, try the coffee. It's
great coffee.
A lot of people
Just
like
saying.
cigars with coffee. So you know what? Try the coffee.
Well, the thing is, too, people have said that because it is based around how we started was based around, and they go, well, I don't smoke cigars. You can still drink the coffee.
Say, you can still like the coffee.
Yes, you can still like the coffee.
Very cool. So, final thoughts on the JC Newman Yagua.
Good cigar all the way through.
Yep.
I would still call it a definitely medium body. I did get some of that spice you were talking about.
Okay, I was going to ask
it was coming up on there.
Yep.
It got to that point, so I'm going to call it a go-to cigar.
Okay.
Kind of, it's nothing, I'm going to be honest, outstanding on it.
Yeah.
It's a solid smoke all the way through. When it started picking that up at the end, it was kind of a shame, because then it was like, oh, I want to spend a little more time. But then it was time to put it down.
Yeah.
If I hit that flavor, that end flavor on that back third, halfway in, would have made it a little. Yeah. But it's a rock solid cigar. It burned well in the wind tunnel. Smoked beautifully all the way through and through. Good flavors.
That's why I was taking mine down even further, to where I ended up briefly touching the burn line on it, as I was trying to get as much out of that little bit left that I had.
That's how you judge a good. When you burn your teeth, that's when you have a good cigar.
Very cool. Well, Christopher, thank you so much for taking
for
time out on
really
a Sunday,
appreciate
man.
it.
This has been really great.
It was a lot of fun. Thanks for having us on. And like I say, you, my friend, have an invitation. We'll set something up.
I appreciate that.
In the next couple of weeks or so when we record. Just open your Tuesday up. That's when we do it.
Sounds good.
And we'll have you in studio.
We'll do.
All right. Thanks for having me on. I really do appreciate it.
This has been great. Well, guys, this has been another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm Nick.
I'm Christopher Manso, Snappy Bigman.
Everybody stay safe and stay smoky.